Bigger, better, bolder. The cold, hard truth is taking talk to the next level. Right here on Bobo 89.1 FM, Cayman's Community Radio. We are still spilling the tea and committed to being part of the change that Cayman so desperately needs. Join Sandy Hill weekdays from 7:30 a.m. for Premier Access, Cayman Voices, Truthful Thursdays, and much more. Cayman's #1 talk show is now bigger, better, bolder, and more than talk. Getting results with hot topics, consumer reports, court exposés, and more.
I've come to set the record straight. I've come to shine the light on you. Let me introduce myself. I am the cold, hard truth.
Now, from the CMR studio in Grand Cayman, live, direct, it's the cold, hard truth. Now, join the conversation on 345-936-2626.
That number again is
345-936-2626.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into the program. Good morning, everyone. Let me just send out our notifications and then we are going to get started. Yay. All right, let me see. I was this morning just reminding a few people. Yesterday I had some goodies from my garden. And so I was busy reminding them to please, if you say you're coming for the bok chow and the callaloo, make your way. We can't afford to be wasting no food around these parts. Withered up callaloo on my countertop this morning. Come on now, get on the program. So yes, sometimes we have more around here than we can handle from the garden. So we share. That's what we do. Cayman kind. Need to work on this camera situation. I had to order a special cable. When it comes, I'll let y'all know. You see, that would be the ideal positioning, but my camera keeps dropping, I've noticed. All right, give me one good second for my visual people, and I will get you guys sorted out. So yes, if you said you were coming, don't make me call you. Do not make me call you, because you will not be getting anything more from Sandy's garden if you don't come. All right. Good morning to First Lady Jayanne. Good morning to, gosh, this camera is horrible today. Morning to Miss Alice. I don't know why my head is cut off this morning, but it is what it is. See, that's where it should be. Ugh. All right. Well, I could just do a squat all day during the show, which somehow I know would not be comfortable. Corrine is in the house. Good morning to Miss Corrine. Did you get your ticket sorted out for Taste of Cayman? Don't forget, folks, that Taste of Cayman is right around the corner. You don't want to miss it. Get your tickets sorted out early, honey child, so that you can get in. Get your VIP tickets. Well, the VIP tickets were on sale. They had a flash sale for Easter. That's over now. I don't know if they're going to have another flash sale, to be honest. Maybe not. They say the early bird gets the worm. So sometimes you got to get up and at it. Good morning to Olivia and Alice. Miss Corrine says, love the pink on you. So beautiful. I would love some, please. You guys got to be able to come to get it because unfortunately, I actually had a batch in my car yesterday, and I'm just as bad as everybody else because I was trying to get a hold of Charlene to take her a bag, and I completely forgot. My afternoon got busy, and I forgot that's in the back of the trunk. But I guess it's still good, right? Ugh, I don't know. Good morning, Richard. Andrea's in the house. Wee Wee is here. So yeah, I don't have the time to be driving all over Kingdom Come. We're gonna put some ripe plantains in there too, because I noticed that the plantains are starting to get super, super ripe. And I'm just not eating as many of those things anymore. Trying to watch my figure. So let me wrap up yesterday's show. There's a couple things that I do want to say. And then I'm going to move past it in terms of the immediate conversation. First of all, if you all know me, you probably have figured out by now that I am a very tenacious person. Tenacity should have been my middle name, not Teresa, not Teresa. I should have been Tenacity. In other words, I stick with a situation until it is resolved. Y'all know what tenacious and tenacity means? Let's look it up. Dictionary.com. Y'all go check it out. You can learn a new word every day. I actually have my word a day calendar around here somewhere that I'm never using. I should pull that out every morning and we could all learn something together. It's the quality or fact of being able to grip something firmly, the sheer tenacity. So it's having a firm grip, the quality or fact of being very determined, determination, persistence. That's another word for it, basically, a synonym. And I've always had people say to me that the one word, if they had to choose a singular word to describe me in terms of my personality, it would always be that I am very tenacious. And I see that as a good thing. I'm like a dog with a bone, with his favorite bone. I'm not going to let that bone go. I'm going to just keep at it. And so it is with a lot of issues. And I think that oftentimes what happens is we discuss something, we move on from it, we forget it. And there are people who are counting on the fact that we will forget it. You know, oh, next week this will blow over. Well, some things blow over quite easily. But when it comes to children in particular, this happens to be my Achilles heel. It's not going anywhere. Yeah. I received a message yesterday from somebody in Jamaica, and they said to me that perhaps I had some sort of a personal issue with this young lady. And I said, a personal issue with, what's her name? Sidoni. I said, a personal issue? And I said, wouldn't that require me actually knowing her or having had some kind of beef with her or something? How do you have a personal issue with someone, but there's no person in the personal issue in the sense that you don't even know the person like that? But this is how we as a community seek to dismiss situations, right? It's easy, or it's easier, I guess I should say, for people in the community to want to believe that I have a personal issue with Sidoni, and that personal issue is driving this conversation. Because then you can feel comfortable with the fact that you have ignored a lot of her bad behavior over many, many, many years. Even I'm speaking now to the members on her association. A lot of them knew exactly what had been going on for years. Remember the guy there, the gymnastics sex scandal. What was his name? This was a gymnastics sex abuse scandal. Larry Nassar. He preyed on young girls for a very, very long time. And there was actually a cover-up that led to this whole breaking of this scandal. As late as 2016, at least 368 gymnasts had alleged some form of sexual abuse at the hand of their coaches, gym owners, and other adults working in that industry. And to me, it is, we've had a Larry Nassar moment in track and field with Atto Stevens, and we missed the boat. The general community at large has not recognized what we have allowed to happen to our young people and the cover-up that has happened at the hands of Sedoni Mothersell. And so when people say to me, oh, this sounds personal, well, I guess maybe I should own it in the sense that it's personal because I'm here personally trying to protect our children from any future abuses and from the people who are the biggest enablers of all, who have ignored complaints for years. So is that personal? I mean, I don't think so. You know, I make it very, very clear that I don't know her. And to be quite frank, I don't know any of the other people who sit on this association, on the board. And does that mean that I'm going to sit back and ignore her behavior? No. Everybody will have a time of reckoning in one way or the other. And imagine how we have been so closed-minded, closed eyes, closed ears to a lot of the abuses that our children have had to sustain. And it's not just that. That is part of the conversation. To me, that's the most egregious part of the conversation. But there are other things that have happened under her watch as well, directly attributed to her. I'm having athletes, professional athletes in this country who are at the top of their game contacting me saying, Sandy, you have no idea how evil this woman is. And that's the word, that's their words, not mine. Because they have had experiences with her. And the things that she has done, and the things that the association has done, and the things that even our government sports ministry has done, because they were taking advice from her and they were following her lead on how to deal with our athletes. Athletes have missed opportunities of a lifetime that they will never, ever get back. And the only person that they have to blame that on is Sedoni Mothersell. I don't believe that you all understand the magnitude of this conversation. And so I guess part of me is a bit like, well, if the general public doesn't understand the magnitude of what she's been up to for a very long time and what she has been able to do, you know, do I just let it go? Well, remember what I said about being tenacious? The answer has to be no. I can't let it go. And I want to be very, very clear that I will not let it go until this association takes some degree of accountability. It will be just like the Miss Cayman fiasco. I see it really as not much different, except in one regard, it's worse, because people have actually been harmed because of the actions and inactions of this association and Miss Sidoni Mothersill. Put aside the Lacey situation. That's the least of your worries when it comes to this association. That's the least of your worries when it comes to Sidoni Mothersill. So we can't let this go. We won't let this go, because every single child that comes up now after this, we owe them an obligation to make sure that they can be safe in all of their sports associations and all of their sports clubs. Now that y'all have a little bit of a concept of what has transpired, why would we sit back now and do nothing? How can we allow that to happen? All that means, folks, is we are continuing to miss the point, and we're continuing to keep our young people vulnerable. And that is, by all accounts, it cannot be right. You guys might have seen in the news recently, just over the last couple of days, the Dalai Lama found himself in a bit of hot water. Yeah. Apparently, I don't know if you guys saw the video. He was, I don't know what event he was at or whatever, but he's like, greeting people, and he's greeting this young child. And he is actually, the weird part about this situation is the whole thing was caught on video and audio. Yeah. He basically says to this young child, I guess he was kissing the child, and then he said that he wants this young child to suck his tongue, and he actually pushes out his tongue. This man is the most senior spiritual leader in Tibetan Buddhism. My apologies. What the heck is he asking a child to suck his tongue for? Cameras are there rolling. There are other monks there behind him. And it's like, I find it so creepy at the highest level. Why on earth would he feel so comfortable saying something like this in public? I don't know if he forgot that he was being recorded or what. It's disgusting. But it certainly goes to, and some people said, oh, it's a cultural situation. Listen to me. We have got to stop finding excuses for creepy, disgusting, sexualized behavior when it comes to children. He has since apologized. And again, I hate to bring up the religious element of this, but it's certainly not lost on me that this man is the top religious leader for his entire religious sect. He's like the Pope of Tibetan Buddhism. What the heck? He should be stepping down. He issued an apology. Apparently, this was at an event actually in February, and I'm shocked that it took so long for this event for the video to finally come to the forefront. But, this man is revered. When he goes out, people literally kiss his feet, all in the name of religion. He sits there meditating all day, and now I have to wonder what on earth goes through his mind when he's meditating. It's just unacceptable. You see, we have to stomp out this kind of behavior. We have to stop normalizing it. We have to stop excusing it. It's just shocking. These people are supposed to be the pillars of, you know, all that's good about religion, they claim. So here's the background. A video clip has been circulating. This is what he published on his Twitter page. A video clip has been circulating that shows a recent meeting with a young boy. Asked His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, if he could give him a hug. His Holiness wishes to apologize to the boy and his family, as well as his many friends across the world, for the hurt his words may have caused. May have caused? Okay, Dalai Lama. His Holiness often teases people he meets in an innocent and playful way, even in public and before cameras, and he regrets the incident. Wow. What is that saying about the drunken mind reveals what the sober mind can't say? Now it's a joke. Now it's, oh, you were just teasing him. It's interesting that he doesn't say anything about, oh, this is part of the culture. Sucking on my tongue is part of a culture. But other people I've seen, when we posted it up on social media, other people are like, oh, yeah, this is like a cultural thing for them. Really? Well, you know what? Let me be very, very clear. Sexual abuse and molestation in the Catholic Church has also been culturally ingrained. And in the Baptist churches and a lot of other churches, it has been part of the culture. Does that somehow make it right? Live says, imagine what he's been doing behind closed doors or when no one is looking. Yes. It's disgusting. Completely unacceptable, folks. I must tell you that when I saw that, I had to take a moment to digest even what he said and what he did. And then on top of it, to have the visual. Tracy says we're frozen. Give me a second, Tracy. Let me see if I can see what's going on. And then on top of that, to have the visual of actually seeing it and hearing it and seeing his disgusting tongue, the way in which, it's creepy. He needs to do more, in my opinion, than apologize. He needs to step down. I don't know how it works as a Buddhist leader. I don't know how the Dalai Lama is even appointed. I don't know how any of that works, but I'm sure he has a successor that hopefully is a little bit better than him with this sort of thing, but he needs to step down. We've got to stop normalizing and accepting this kind of behavior in any way, shape, or form. Wow. I tell you what, it's just things that just make you shake your head. Jonathan says that little boy was supposed to be his successor. I don't think so. But let me also say this, because I think when it comes to, everybody has their own religious beliefs. And I keep telling y'all that for me, I'm not about religion. You can be spiritual. You believe in God. You can have your relationship is supposed to be personal with God. But the aspect of this religion umbrella where we build churches and we put human beings on a pedestal within these churches, and pastors are driving around in the fanciest of cars and full suits and looking their best. I was saying to my in-laws over the weekend, I was saying that, there was something, I can't remember how the conversation got started, but something came up about someone, and they're like, oh, now this person's getting into the ministry. It was another family member they were saying is now I'm getting into the ministry. And I said, well, there you go. He'll be just fine financially now, because, that the ministry is all about making some coins. And I said to them, the irony of it is a lot of people from Jamaica have come here and become part of the ministry, and they've lived their best celebrity lives ever. They're like a celebrity within the church. And I'm telling you, they live in the biggest houses, courtesy of the church congregation, pays for them to live, rent free. They dress in the top hats. The wives always have the biggest hats and the biggest this. And, I've seen people, I've gone to some churches that I'm not affiliated with in any way, shape, or form. And I've gone there and I've looked at their church leaders, and I've seen them dressed in such a way that I thought, wow. I mean, everybody wants to look good and everybody wants to dress good, but these people take it to another level. Designer this and that. And they say, like, remember the guy who was telling y'all that he needs a, what was it? He wanted a helicopter or a car or some expensive thing. And he got upset with the church because they wouldn't provide him with it. And then the other one who got robbed of all his gold and jewelry and stuff. And it was all caught on the church's live stream. I mean, these guys have taken worldly possessions to a totally different level. And church members support that through their tithing, and they support that behavior. So they're struggling and they're poor, and they're making sure that these churches these church pastors and leaders are living their best possible lives. And I am really, really dumbfounded by it. So organized religion puts me on edge, because I think really it is designed to control people in a way that nothing else has ever been able to do. When people tell you that you are to be celibate in order to be a leader, whether you're Buddhist, Catholic, or whatever other religion tells you that foolishness, y'all need to look closely at what they're claiming is the doctrine that supports that, because I can't find it anywhere in the Bible. Let's just have a quick moment here. We do have some guests that are going to be coming on here in a second. But if we talk about God created a man and a woman, that's what y'all want to tell me. Yes, that's the foundation of relationships. And he expects people to be able to procreate and to be in relationships. And relationships are more than about the sexual and the physical connection. How can you expect your religious leaders to be so, is pious the word that I'm looking for? I don't know, where they will force themselves and deny themselves what is supposed to be a very natural connection and a very natural thing. That leads to, in my opinion, and my very humble opinion, unnatural desires and unnatural behavior. And I think a lot of it has been bore out. The one church that has, and trust me, the Baptists and others have been hit with sex scandals. So don't get me wrong. I'm not just saying the Catholic Church is the only one who molests and abuse children. But the Catholic Church has the biggest problem. I think I'm safe in saying that. They have a reputation that precedes them for the molestation and abuse of children and nuns, right? You go to most of these nunneries, is that what they're called? And you will find grave sites with all these babies that have been buried over the centuries because the nuns were being raped and assaulted by the priests, and they were forced to be quiet about it. Sometimes it might have been consensual, but most of the times it was not. And then they were forced into either having abortions, or when the babies were born, they would simply kill the baby and bury it in the backyard of the location. These are facts. So have a think about that, folks. Alejandro, good morning, says, it was culture when I was a baby till I was about 10 to 13 years old. I used to kiss my grandpa on the lips, but nothing creepy about that. I do it with my daughter. I hope none think that that's kept now. I don't know. Something's missing in that one. Jonathan says they were saying years ago that his Dalai Lama was going to be the last, that this Dalai Lama was going to be the last Dalai Lama. I won't pretend to understand a whole lot, folks, about that religion. I think, again, the underlying teachings of Buddhism, in a lot of respects, make a lot of sense. But I do caution, I do pause when I see things like this. And I do pause when people have this belief that they have to maintain a life of celibacy. And I would say that that just isn't for everyone. Believe me, you. So, I think his behavior was egregious, and I think more has to happen than just an apology. And so, to wrap up this portion of the conversation before we invite our guests onto the program, I just want to make it very, very clear as it relates to the Cayman Islands Athletic Association, now called the Cayman Athletic Association. I think they removed islands from the name. So it's no longer CIAA, right? I want to be very, very clear. No one has a personal axe to grind with Sidoni Mothersill or any other member of that association. The axe that we have to grind is they have failed. There's been a systematic failure within this athletic association of protecting children. Yes? Children and parents and other athletes have come forward, even up to last night, calling my phone. Sandy, this is nothing new. This has been going on for a long time. It's not a singular victim. And of course, I knew this. I said, I know because other parents have spoken to me over the years. Why has there been no accountability? And the only way in my mind that we can have accountability for that type of behavior, if a parent comes to me and I'm part of a track, whatever their track club was called, and I'm part of this association, a parent comes to me and says, your husband has been texting my daughter, and she has alleged that it's gone beyond texting, that he has touched her, he's molested her, he said things to her, right? How can I say that that didn't happen? And your daughter, your underage child is a liar when you have all the text messages, by the way. And I deny it time after time after time to protect a singular individual. Somebody else reminded me last night in terms of the doping scandal. It wasn't one, but it was 2 doping scandals with him. He's not the type of person that you put your character on the line for. And Sidoni Mothersill has made that decision. And yes, I understand that that is her husband. And she can make that decision up to a point, but she cannot make that decision at the level that she is in as a member of that association where there are children. She has an obligation, a legal obligation to the children first and foremost, even above her own husband. And if you're not capable of doing that, then you need to step down or you need to be removed. Now, I feel confident in saying that Sidoni is not the type of person who will step down. Just like Miss Cayman, there's some people that will not bend even when they know that they're wrong. Even after a conviction, they will still be the people who stand there acting as though they have done nothing wrong and they are so incredibly innocent. So the people in this country have got to make demands on the Athletic Association to remove her and stop allowing her to pad the voting system that keeps her there with this fraudulent membership growth situation where she's bringing in people and paying for their membership. That has got to stop. So I don't know what kind of culture y'all are into, but I can tell you that we will continue on this conversation and we will reach out to every single regional and international body in order to put the pressure on the local association to remove her. If the rest of you don't want to step down despite your knowledge of the situation and complacency, that says a lot about you as well. At the very minimum, Sidoni Mothersill has to go. And I can tell you now, Mike Sands from he's the Bahamian former track and field sprinter. Now he is heavily involved as the president of NACA. I'm reaching out to him because he needs to understand the magnitude of what has transpired here in the Cayman Islands. The ministry is quiet, not a single word from the ministry. Well, I'm sorry. We cannot sit back and allow this to go unanswered. Every single one of his victims right? Never got justice through a court of law. They never got justice through Sidoni Mothershill. They never got justice through the association that allowed him to continue to coach our young girls and boys. Even after his conviction, he's in Miami, still coaching Caymanian children. This grieves my soul at a different level. And that was allowed to happen by this association. And it was allowed to happen by Sidoni Mothershill. So every single person will be contacted about this until something is done. All right, folks. Alejandro says, it is you. You see it too, right? I'm not sure what that means. Alejandro says, I hope no one thinks that that's creepy now. Good morning to Jim. Says, some churches are nothing more than cults, brainwashing people to believe in X, Y, and Z. And again, some are nothing more than a business making money. Have even heard of a couple right here on island. Good morning to Miss Iva. I noticed you're on YouTube today. She says, blessed good morning. RD Limited says, don't forget what the Catholics did to the natives in Canada. Johan is in the house. Says that we burn down the Catholic Church too. No, we're not burning down the Catholic Church. That's one institution that, they're flame retardant. Nothing will ever really happen to them. But I must say, as of late, after lawsuits and so on, they're starting to take a bit more accountability. Diamond Princess says, the older I get, the more I realize that things we are told as children about Christianity is very shady and lots of information is left out. I was reading something just this week about they found a new book of the Bible. Did y'all hear about that one? Anyway, we'll save that for another minute. Tracy says, but there was only one woman and 3 sons. I don't know what that. I'm sorry, I've lost. Oh, she's talking about Tammy Faye Baker and Jim Baker, Pray on the Desperate. Oh, Lord. There's a lot of that going on. What can I say? Morning to Miss Morna. So let's move away from this conversation a little bit. Thank you, John. Says that when a Dalai Lama dies, or even before his death, a successor is found rather than chosen. Traditionally, senior Tibetan monks conduct an elaborate quest to find a child who is the Dalai Lama's next incarnation. The search involves consulting oracles, interpreting visions, and reading spiritual signs taken from Wikipedia. Thanks, John, for that. What a mess. Robert, good morning to you. He says good morning to everybody in the 345 and beyond, because we've always got international listeners tuned into the program, such as Charlotte. Look at Charlotte, Caymanian living in Scotland. All right, so we have some guests in the studio this morning. Let's switch gears. They're only going to be here for a short time, and we do want to talk about this amazing milestone. So our guests are joining us from the University College of the Cayman Islands. And they are now celebrating, I can't believe this time has gone by already, but they're now celebrating 10 years. Can y'all believe it? 10 years. Wow. Of their nursing program. So we have Krita Johnson Shirley, who's the program director, and Misha Thompson, who's a third-year student in the program, both joining us this morning. Good morning, ladies. Oh, you've got to unmute yourself so I can hear you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. How are you?
Just one correction. We have Jasana Watson.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, Misha lost her voice, so Jasana is replacing her.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for that. Yes, I think I did get a message about a change. Okay, fantastic. So thank you guys for joining us here. So the nursing program is 10 years old already. I cannot believe it.
Yes, it is 10 years.
Where did the time go? Tell me what you guys have been up to in that time.
Well, we've been doing excellent at the regional exam. So we've had 3 groups of 100% passes. So that's one of our milestones. Up till last year, we had a group that had 100% pass in the board exams.
Wow.
Right.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And we've graduated 44 students thus far, and looking forward to another 7 this year. And most of our graduates are employed. Many of them are employed in the Health Services Authority.
Mm-hmm. All right. So April, the month of April, is the anniversary for the nursing program at the University College of the Cayman Islands. Again, considered a huge milestone, folks. For the Cayman Islands community. It's the first, to my knowledge, nursing program. So we're going to go into some of the details about after the launch in April of 2013, what the nursing program offers. You just mentioned the number of students that have actually come through the program. It's actually a 4-year course. Is that correct?
Yes, it's a 4-year program, full-time day program.
Mm-hmm. Okay, full-time day program. Wow. So this is quite a commitment. And we do have an annual capping ceremony that will happen this October. But you talked about, some of the successes of the program. So thus far, you've graduated 6 classes.
Yes, 6 classes.
Mm-hmm. And the last 3 years of graduates celebrated 100% pass rate on their nursing board exams. To me, that speaks volumes to the caliber of what the university is offering to these students. So that's a bit of fantastic news to be celebrating as well.
Yes, it is. It is. We're proud of our students and our graduates.
All right. So, young lady, just tell me your name again, because I was actually looking. They still had the other name on the email that they sent, but just give me your name again, please.
My name is Josanna Watson.
Josanna Watson?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Josanna, you're in year what now? Is it 3?
I'm in my 3rd year of nursing school. So I have 1 more year left.
1 more year left. Tell us a little bit about what it has been like for you.
So far it's been a good time, but it can have its challenges in terms of getting certain procedures done, and just the coursework can be very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I've been very persistent along with my other cohort members.
Mm-hmm.
We're almost to the finish line, so we're very excited to be finished soon within the next year.
Beautiful. What made you decide to go into nursing?
So I always had a passion for caring for people,
Mm-hmm.
and I always wanted to see a representation of myself within the medical field and in the nursing field. So that was one big inspiration.
That was an inspiration for you. All right. So Josanna and others, folks, how many students are in your particular cohort?
So right now it's 4, including myself.
Including yourself, right? These young people, I think it's amazing when they want to take up, because nursing is a very special profession. I'm glad you said that you'd always had a passion for taking care of people, because I think that that's exactly where it starts. Before you can get to any of the sort of technical aspects of being a nurse, you really have to just love helping people and love people in general, and love being around people, because you find people at their most vulnerable when you are a nurse. And I remember many years ago, I had my first surgery at the Georgetown Health Services Authority. And when you come to, you're in such a vulnerable state, right? Like you need help going to the bathroom. I mean, I couldn't even get up. I need help with the potty, bin or whatever we call it. And it was just so, I remember thinking in my mind, because of course your brain is working, but your body is only capable of doing so much. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing to actually need help. But then I recognized there are a lot of people who they're not just there for a couple of days post-surgery. That's their entire life, where they're depending on people like Josanna to be there for them, to provide them with full-time care. And it really does take a special person to fulfill that role. So let's talk a little bit then, as program director, about how the program has been progressing over the past 10 years. Have you had more students interested in the program in more recent years from the onset, or what has your enrollment been like?
Right. So most times we start off with a group of between 10 to 15 students.
Mm-hmm.
And most times we try to maintain the numbers. However, I find that in the first year, where most students tend to fall out of the program or may have to resit, because it's challenging for them, because it's the content is heavy. They do additional courses compared to the other students at the university. But over the years, in terms of enrollment, I think we've been consistent. Our smallest group of enrollment was a group of 5, and they graduated last year. But overall, we've been admitting between 10 to 15 students consistently. And I think we have, our first year group is now 12. So I think we have a consistent number, a higher number going through first year this time. Our highest group that we completed was a group of 11.
That actually completed the full 4 years.
4 years, yes.
Wow. That's pretty good. All right. So historically, when the program began, it was first initiated in 2009 by then President Mr. Roy Bodden, Hazel Brown, who's the chief nurse, who was, I think she's since retired, the chief nursing officer for the Cayman Islands Health Services Authority. And the actual discussions, kicked off in 2009, but it became a reality in 2013 when the program welcomed its first set of cohort of learners. So again, this 10-year celebration the UCCI is going to be having really speaks to the types of programs that the university can offer, really, technical based programs that empower people to go into the work environment such as the HSA, Doctors Hospital, or even Health City, Cayman Islands. And then I'm sure there's a training element that you can tell us about, Josanna, that is involved in the program as well. But, it really just prepares you, at least from an academic perspective, and I think a little bit of there's some practicum involved as well, to go into the workplace and become the most amazing nurse ever.
Yeah, so just to add, we do undergo several, or about, I think, 120 hours of practical. So it begins in your second year. You start out in the medical surgical unit at HSA, and then you also go to Health City as well. And once you complete your second year, you continue with longer shifts in your third year. So that consists of 12-hour shifts in our different wards. So right now, currently I'm on the maternity ward. So we visit maternity ward, medical, surgical, clinics, district clinics. We also go to the BRAC as well for about a week. And so yeah, it's along with the heavy course load, we also have heavy practical hours as well.
The students complete over 2,000 practicum hours.
Wow. What has been your, that sounds like a very challenging program for sure. What has been your biggest challenge, Josanna, in completing the program?
My biggest challenge would probably be.
Sorry, say that once more for me.
My biggest challenge would probably having ensuring time management between our shifts and then our coursework as well, because even though while we have to go to our shift work, we also have to complete assignments, case studies, so it would be having to balance those two.
So time management, because it is a full-time course, that's pretty demanding. And how has it been for you balancing being a full-time student and sort of the financial commitment that comes with that? Are there any scholarships that have been offered to the nursing students, or how does that work?
Yes, so you obviously have your local government scholarship for Caymanians, which I'm currently on. However, the UCCI offers several different scholarships, such as the Peter N. Thompson Scholarship. They also offer the Community Engagement Scholarship. And then you can also source financial aid outside of UCCI setting. Outside of the UCCI setting. So whether that be Health City, doctors also offer a financial scholarship for those who are entering the medical field.
Very good. And so you're coming up now on your final year. How are you feeling, Josanna, about kind of being a little bit in the home stretch?
Very, very excited. I cannot wait. A little bit nervous because we do sit the RENR at the end of our 4th year.
Mhm.
However, I know that all of my cohort members will pass, including myself. But I'm excited. I cannot wait to finish.
Yes.
It's been a
And
long.
have you thought, are there any opportunities for the nursing students to specialize in anything like during their studies, or does that normally happen once you get into the hospital environment?
So that usually happens once you get into the hospital environment. A lot of places recommend that you do 2 years of what we call bedside nursing, so some medical or surgical experience before you specialize.
Mhm.
However, it just depends on the institution and what they would like, but um, most of the times it requires you to go off island.
Mhm. Wow. Okay. All right. So folks, if you have any questions for this young lady, Josanna, or the UCCI Nursing Program Director, please feel free to give us a call, 936-2626. Again, it's 10 years, which is quite a milestone. They're actually celebrating. So what kind of celebrations, Miss Johnson, Shirley, are we going to be seeing over the course of the 10-year celebrations?
Well, starting off with you this morning, this is
Yes, this is,
our
this is the
first day.
kickoff.
Yes, this is a kickoff with you. Following this, we are having different interviews going on with different faculty member and our dean this morning, and that will continue to next week. We approach Nurses Week in May 6th, May 7th to 13th, and we want to have a church service on Sunday and on a Saturday. The 7th will be a church service as First Assembly, and then on the 13th we'll have another church service at the King Seventh-day Adventist. During that week, we want to highlight our faculty, and we also want to show appreciation to the nurses and the health institutions that have been supporting our students and the School of Nursing. In August, we also want to have an appreciation award for those pioneers and or also recognize our graduates.
Mhm.
And then in October, our annual capping and pinning ceremony, we want to, that will be on October 12th. And for that, we will have a special publication, historical publication of the School of Nursing Education on that day. It will be released on October 12th for the capping and pinning.
Mhm.
Following that, then next year in April, we want to have a nursing symposium, which will be the first for the School of Nursing. And we are still in the planning phase for that, but we want to have persons probably coming from overseas. And of course, we want to utilize our local nurses as well for that symposium.
That sounds quite good. Looks like you've got a full calendar of celebratory events
And
that
I
are going to
missed
be happening.
one. I missed one. We will have one in a health fair in June, on June 14th. We'll have a health fair here at UCCI.
A health fair. Okay. All right. Very good. And is this available on the calendar for the university? Is the general public kind of invited to some of these events, or how can they find out more about the celebrations and be able to participate?
Yes, our marketing department will post as we go along the dates, the upcoming dates, and the venues for these functions. Yes.
All right, very good. All right. So again, if anyone has any questions, do feel free to call in, or just not even a question, just to congratulate these young people for some of their amazing achievements. So, there's, I think, a lot to be proud of here. Josanna is one young person who is involved in the nursing program. She's now coming into her 4th year soon. So we want to congratulate you, Josanna, and all the other nursing students, both past and present. So tell us, because of course, everyone who listens to a program like this, they want to know, okay, I studied for 4 years and I work hard and I come out and I pass the board exams. That's fantastic. But what about finding a job? Ms. Shirley, how successful are your students at actually finding employment?
Well, Of the 44 that have graduated, we have over 20, I think about 23, 22 at the health services, employed to the health services authority. And starting, I think next week, we'll have another 6 that will be employed. So the health services authority, they employ Caymanians because they do a 1-year program called the TTP, Transition to Practice Program, where they work with senior nurses to hone their skills and to be at that competent and safer level to practice. So the Health Services Authority employs most of our graduates. We have 3 that are employed to doctors and 1 at Health City. We also have others who are in Jamaica, and we have 1 student in Canada. And also locally, we have students who work at the local medical centers or clinics here in Cayman. We do have a few that have not worked in nursing. They've joined the police force, and I think that's a matter of choice. And for the non-Caymanians, it may require, because they're new graduates, they need experience for persons to hire them. So sometimes that poses a challenge if they don't get that hospital experience at first. But the good thing about our graduates, because they do the regional exam, they can seek employment outside of Cayman. And as I said, we have nurses who are in Jamaica, we have in Canada. So that gives them the leverage to seek employment outside of the Cayman Islands.
Very good. So folks, again, the School of Nursing offers a Bachelor of Science in Nursing degree, and it supports the mission at UCCI. In keeping with this mission, the mission of UCCI School of Nursing, the premier provider of professional nursing education in the Cayman Islands, is preparing students to be highly skilled, knowledgeable, compassionate, professional nurses through committed educators, worldwide technology, and current scientific knowledge. So this is fantastic. They've got a number of program goals. So the number 1 goal is obviously for them to obtain the title of a registered nurse, an RN, practicing within the professional standards, legislation, and values of the nursing profession, functioning nationally and globally as beginning practitioners who are committed to the total well-being of the patient system, individual, family, and community, and as responsible citizens, assuming roles in partnership with patients and the healthcare team, and demonstrating accountability for personal and professional actions, as well as maintaining professional competence through lifelong learning. So again, this program of study extends over 4 calendar years of full-time study. It's 133 credits accomplished over 8 15-week semesters and 4 summer sessions of 6 weeks duration each. So they've got 64% of the program offerings have what they call professional core courses, and then the other 36% are cognate and support courses, and passes in all courses must meet the standard, the requirements of the UCCI. So professional courses account again for some 85 credits or 64%. And then they've got support courses, which is 39 credits or 29%. And then what is the cognates? What does that include? What sort of courses is that? That's 9 credits.
Say again?
The cognates, what sort of courses are those?
Those are like the English language, the freshman composition.
Oh, I see.
Right. The sociology, the psychology, biochemistry.
What are the foundation courses for any degree?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So very good. I know that nursing tends to be a very female-dominated profession, but do you have any men that have graduated from the program?
We've had 2 males so far that have graduated, and we have 1 now in first year.
Okay.
No,
men, get out there.
This is a 1 in 4th year that will graduate this year, and and 1 more in first year. So we have 2 graduates, 1 about to be graduated, and 1 in first year.
Beautiful. All right, men, get on it. You guys make wonderful nurses too. So tell us a little bit about what's required if someone is interested in finding out more about the nursing program. Applicants obviously need to satisfy certain requirements. What are those requirements?
Right, so our requirements for nursing are set by the Nursing Council, and they stipulate that mathematics, English language, and biology, whether it's human and social biology, those are the 3 compulsory subjects. Thereafter, you need another 2 subjects, which may be chemistry, physics, food and nutrition, home economics, principles of business, principles of accounts, Spanish, French, and the list goes on. Of those 5 subjects, the students should only have 2 grade 3s. If they don't have the CXCs, and we do have students who have left school for a while and they want to come into the program, the UCCI also allows these students to do these courses, these prerequisite courses to enter the program. They must have all 5 subjects or courses to enter the program, to start the program. And after completing these 5 programs, they also do an interview, and thereafter we decide if they're accepted.
And how many people, what's the acceptance level versus how many people actually apply?
The acceptance level is a little bit lower than those who apply, because what we've had to do is to work with persons over a year, sometimes 2, to get them the required subjects to enter. And for example, we have students who may graduate from John Grier, Clifton Hunter, but we also have an age limit of 17. So most times they are not yet 17. So they go through pre-college or the dual enrollment program, and sometimes they don't have their subject, but we work with them to do the UCCI courses to come in. So we tend to have persons we have a high interest level, but in terms of acceptance, it takes a while to see those coming into the program, maybe a year or 2. So some years we have a smaller group, some years we have a larger group. But we've been working with students, doing advising, ensuring that they're doing the right courses, trying to motivate them. So I think it's a reflection of our last 2 groups, where we've had an intake of 13 and an intake of 15.
Very good. All right. So how can people who are listening, find out more about the program?
All right. So to get more information, they can log on to the UCCI website, and they'll find the courses, the requisites there on the UCCI website. They can also get in touch with me at qjohnson@ucci.edu.ky, or they can visit the admissions department, and usually they would refer them to me.
And I've also shared the link here, folks, in the comment section as well, for the School of Nursing page, so that you can find out a bit more. So there is a minimum age requirement that you have to be 17 years old at the time of entry into the program. You do submit an essay or personal statement as part of your application, and you also have to attend an interview. So this is a long program. I mean, 4 years, it's a commitment. And so you've got to be willing to dedicate at least that much time, plus additional time, to your profession, if this is what you wish to do. So contact the University College, find out more about this wonderful program. I see a few people commenting here that this is great. So Debbie says this is great news. Miss Amori says, hi, Josie. Miss Darlene says, congrats to Josie and others. This is great news, as nurses are of great demand globally. And this is true. This is a wonderful profession that you might start here in the Cayman Islands, but you might not know where it's going to lead you, because there's a lot of opportunities for nursing professionals. So good morning to Miss Faye. She says, good morning, Sandy, and also morning to her mom, Miss Marcia. And Miss Shirley O'Neill says, congratulations to UCCI School of Nursing. in achieving a mammoth milestone. Well done to the faculty and students. Keep doing well, and God will bless your efforts. And Siobhan joining late, but better late than never. All right, folks. So again, we wish to thank our guests in the studio this morning. This is kicking off the 10th anniversary in the month of April of the University College of the Cayman Islands School of Nursing program turns 10 now, and they have had a number of graduates over the years who've successfully completed the program and working, in the profession. If you're interested in finding out more, there's again the link there. You can contact the university, and you can contact the program director, Ms. Quitta Johnson Shirley. She just provided her email address. Of course, the general admissions number for UCCI, because they do have a lot of programs, is 623-8224. Again, that's 623-8224. And their email address, the general email address, is admissions@ucci.edu.ky. So congratulations, and congratulations on your continued success. Wishing you guys all the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Wonderful. So Alejandro also says, congrats to Josie and the crew. Keep up the great work and achievements in your studies. So they're working hard over there. Alejandro, must admit that very, very proud of the persons who've gone through the program successfully. So fantastic. All right. And here's a little video. Here's a little video, a little snippet of what they've been up to.
It's nice for people who don't really want to go away and who want to pursue their education closer to home, local services. So I think the program here is good in that aspect. But it's something that you should take really seriously, but at the end of the day, it's really worth it because nurses are always needed and it's one of the best professions you could ever be in.
That's right, honey child. Nurses are always needed. There's a shortage, actually, of nurses, both during COVID and quite frankly, even before COVID. Nurses are in huge demand. We've got family members, my husband's family members. His sister-in-law actually is a nurse. She's an ICU nurse, and she was headhunted and recruited to move to the U.S., and they now live in the States, and they get a whole package of very, very good salary, support for the movement of the family. They sort out all of your residency papers and so on for you to be able to remain in the U.S. long term and eventually go to the path of citizenship if that's what you want. I was like, wow, that's actually pretty good. So check it out. We know that anytime there's a big regional event, like catastrophe event, nurses are also in demand in terms of that as well. Well, let me see now. You guys are not going to believe this, but hold on to your hats, folks. Got some news for you that is going to maybe shock you, maybe not. First of all, Salvin, I want to back up. I saw your comment. So Salvin says, Sandra, it is my opinion that before you reach out to the athletic gate, and then he puts in bracket Watergate issue, to regional international bodies, we should give the ministry/government a deadline to respond with concrete steps for change. As much as possible, keep it in-house, please. That's been part of the problem. We've been keeping this hot mess in-house for far too long, and nothing has ever been done. However, I think there's a general consensus for most people that the ministry doesn't really have anything to do with this, except we, the people through the ministry, are actually funding the association. But I've got some breaking news for you, but just hang on one quick second. Let's take a quick commercial break.
Get your taste buds ready because Taste of Cayman is back. Join us May 13th at Festival Green, Camana Bay. Eat, drink, and dance the night away. Taste of Cayman offers the very best of Cayman's food and drink scene with plenty of music to keep the party going. Get your festival tickets online today at tasteofcayman.org or call 623-6700. Brought to you by the Cayman Islands Tourism Association and sponsored by AI Rentals, Camana Bay, DMS Broadcasting, and numerous valued partners.
Ocean Ridge Heights offers an amazing opportunity to own a piece of land in idyllic Cayman Brac, right on the bluff, starting from $80,000. Located in a quiet residential area with high elevation, these lots are ideal for a future home or investment property and are sure to go fast. Cayman Brac offers a laid-back lifestyle, amazing pristine diving, limestone caves, diverse flora, along with amazing wildlife. Inquire about the owner financing options so that you can secure your piece of paradise today. With only a few lots remaining, these are sure to go before you know it. Contact Crichton Properties today on 345-949-5250 or info@crichtonproperties.com.
I am Richard Hugh, President and CEO of CUC. Our focus has always been on you, our customers. Times are changing, and so are your expectations. We are listening to our employees and the people of the Cayman Islands to find new opportunities that can improve your experience. We are working every day to provide you with a safe and reliable electricity service. You are at the core of everything that we do. We are exploring and adopting new technologies and sources of energy which will benefit you as we become more reliable and more efficient, which will mean lower energy costs. We are working to improve our energy management tools, offer new products and services, and provide 24/7 customer support. Our new vision, empowering Cayman to be a global leader, is building momentum towards a better future for our islands.
Hey Cayman, los saluda DJ Yoyo, The Energy, y estás escuchando The Cold Hard Truth con la voz del pueblo, Sandra Hill, todas las mañanas, 7:30 AM, only on Bobo, 89.1 FM.
The Cold Hard Truth is Cayman's #1 talk show since it debuted in March 2020. According to independent research, we are the most listened to talk show in 2021, and most people prefer us to any other options on island. We tackle tough issues some days, and other times have fun and lighthearted discussions. But most importantly, the Cold Hard Truth is here for you. Thank you for your support as we continue to be the voice of the people in 2022 and beyond.
All right, folks, welcome back to the program. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I want to play one more thing. I've got Kevin who just mentioned something to me in terms of the radio audio being a little bit low. Kevin, I'm going to play another commercial, and I just want you to tell me if it's any better because I've just made one little tweak. So let me know if that makes a difference.
In the mornings, no one wants to miss listening to the Cold Hard Truth or reading CMR. Cayman's #1 news platform has made your morning commute fun again. Pass this time with the Cold Hard Truth on weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Talk radio that's engaging, entertaining, and enlightening. But be careful. Some mornings it's so hot, you might run into a bit of trouble.
All right, that's a mystery. Okay. Let me have a look at that. So listen, okay. All right, let's get it, folks. Give me a quick second here. I told you all that I sent a number of questions to this athletic association, and they've obviously not responded. However, apparently they issued an apology, haven't bothered to send it to any media. I think maybe they sent it to Alric because he has it up. And I don't know if they sent it to anybody else. I almost have to chuckle at this because, we've been on the story now for a couple of days, and you would think if you want to notify the people that you've actually issued an apology, a formal apology to Lacey, that you would have actually done so through the singular platform that has been talking about this issue for days. This association just needs to go. These people are so unprofessional. How do you get on an association like this? Clearly, it doesn't require much. Everybody knows how to contact us. It's no secret. Our website offers an option of contacting us. I tell you what, these people are all kind of special when I really look at them on a serious note. I don't know what to say. Anyway, so Selvin thinks that we should keep it in-house, and this is already an international situation. So unfortunately, Selvin, Sidoni Mothersill, Delroy, and Mr. Osbert Francis, they made it international when they decided to, in the Bahamas, have this young lady removed from an arena where athletes and everybody else was looking on. It was already international at that point, because even the Bahamian press were, certainly after we put up our story, we were informed then that they were actually interviewing some of the some of the athletes, my apologies, at the hotel, seeking to speak to them about what had transpired. So my other concern really about this desire to always want to keep things in-house is I kind of feel like that's probably one of our biggest problems, is that we never really address these issues when we'll just keep it whisper. Keep it inside the churches, keep it inside of our households. Abuses are happening. Oh, let's just deal with it quietly. Like, it kind of reminds me of when Quincy called the program the other day. Oh, well, the family dealt with this molestation of an underage special needs child. I'm like, really? That's great. But, the child never got any justice, did she? Because when you say the family dealt with it, when you keep it in-house, that means that nothing really will be done. So I don't have any faith that anything will be done. Our government, they've not said anything. The Ministry of Sports has said nothing. I get that it's not their direct responsibility, this particular association, but this association is funded by the people of the Cayman Islands. So at some level, and when it comes to the protection of our children, at some level, the ministry and the minister should be concerned. And we're now into how many days of this scandal? And not a single statement has been issued by the ministry? That's, even if the argument is they can't control what the association does or they don't do, the ministry should have made a statement to say, you know what? We're looking into this. We're investigating this. Something. Say something. This is the police motto now. See something, say something. So I'm disappointed in them. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandra.
Morning, dear.
I think it's all about sweep it under the carpet. Let it slide. And for the person who had said that, keep it in-house. So it's going to repeat itself whenever there is a situation like that. And, and it's embarrassing for what happened worldwide, that it's been showed with security, escorting globally, and then it's going to be what? In-house to deal with it? No, that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Head needs to roll for this.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Good morning, and have a great day.
Thank you so much for that. 936 Bobo is the telephone number. I agree 1,000%. It wasn't kept in-house when it happened, and certainly I'm not understanding the need to keep it in-house when we talk about some of the changes that need to be made. There has to be some degree of accountability, right? And accountability, real accountability, means that there's reputational damage that has already occurred, right? To poor little Lacey. And the reputational damage isn't her burden to carry. It shouldn't be on her. It should be on the association, and it should be on Sidoni Mothersill, who's a driving force behind the decision. But let me do a shout out this morning to J.E. Banks. He issued a photo. Now, I don't know when exactly this photo was taken, but he, I'm assuming this was at the airport when Lacey arrived the other day, but I'm not 100% sure. But it says, "I want to publicly say that I support you, Lacey Barnes." And it's a photo with him, Minister Kenneth Bryan, and newly appointed Minister Dwayne Seymour. So by extension, I'm guessing that the other persons in the photo are also supporting her. Let me see if they posted anything, because remember, we issued a challenge yesterday that said, show your support of this young lady by posting. And I want to thank you, because there are a number of you who did just that. You posted her photo and you did a hashtag of, we support you, hashtag support Lacey as well. So thank you for that. And I don't see anything on Minister Seymour's page. Let me try Mr. Kenneth Bryan to see if he's posted anything on any of his pages. I don't see anything since April the 10th. But anyway, if they haven't posted anything as yet, I think that at least Minister J has definitely let his support be known. And that's appreciated, without a doubt. So the short of it, Selvin, is nope, can't keep it in-house. That time has long gone. So let's have a look at this so-called apology now. That has been issued. Again, they've not disseminated it, so I'm a bit confused. Somebody said that there's a link from them that isn't working, some PDF escape. So they've made it near impossible to get to this. So it says, want to edit PDF or complete? Are you a returning user? I don't even know what this PDF escape is. But in order to get to their apology, you have to go and sign up for some PDF escape account. They could have really just sent an email with the apology letter. Anybody has a number for these people? Shall we call them this morning? I mean, they're making you go through hoops just to read something. And even then, I don't see the letter. It says edit PDF files, view recent PDF files. How can we just get the apology letter? It says the complete CIAA statement is available at the link below. But when you click on that, loading pages, and then it takes you to asking you to sign up for some account. She is the secretary of the association, right? They need to simplify this and work it out. Let's see if they posted it on their social media page. So let's have a look. Athletic Association. These people are something else, honey chill. So we have the Cayman Islands Dart Association, Banaka. Where's the Cayman Athletic Association? Cayman Islands Flag Football. I don't even see. Sports Shooting Association, Boxing, Triathlon. Okay, Cayman. Let me try type in the full name. Cayman Islands Athletic Association. Do they not have a Facebook page? I see the Basketball Association, Dominoes Association, Sports Association of the Sister Islands. Does this athletic association have a social media presence? I see Cayman Islands Sports Department, Alzheimer's Association, Cayman Islands Gymnastics Association. Oh, good for them. Look at them. This is weird because I don't see them on social media. What am I missing here? Does somebody have a link for this association that you could send me? so that I can see if they've actually posted this. Huh. All right. So no luck finding them on Facebook. Bizarre. Let's see if they have a website. Islands Athletic Association. Okay, they do have a website called athletics.org.ky. Let's see if the apology letter is there. Nothing since April the 8th. Nope. Don't say anything. And then the last thing before that was February the 25th. And then June of last year. Huh. Okay. Well, the apology letter is certainly not on the website. Does anybody have an actual copy of the apology letter? Because we would like to see what it is that they had to say. Somebody says maybe it's Cayman Athletics. Okay, let's try that. So website is a dead situation. Nothing posted there. Cayman Athletics. Okay, I see a page called Cayman Athletics. Is this supposed to be them? Only 40 followers and 21 likes? Wow. Oh, I certainly haven't been doing very much. Okay. Last post there was April the 10th. So I see Kareem Street Thompson. Oh, was he at Carifta this year? I wonder if he was coaching anybody. So they posted stuff 2 days ago. There's Sidoni in all of her glory with the champs. And I'm assuming this gentleman standing there with her is Mike Sands. Let me show you all this picture. So no apology letter on the social media page either. And boy, I tell you what, this Facebook page is wanting, for lack of a better word. I mean, what exactly does this association do again? They can't even have a decent social media presence. No, sir. Hot mess. All right, we'll do our best to try to get a hold of the apology so that we can actually see what they said. But apparently, an apology has been issued. So this was one of the last posts that's on their page. Apology letter can't be downloaded. And I mean, I see somebody sent a link, but that link just doesn't work. So I don't know what to say. I think it's important to see what they actually said. I tell you. Let's see here. Johan is in the house today. Johan, look like he's behaving himself this morning. So Johan says, this is not political, no matter how much you and your handlers wanted to believe. I think he's referring to Salvin. No matter how much you and your handlers want to make it, you obviously don't understand how international sporting governing bodies work. Focus, Mr. Richardson, he says. Lord Jesus. Johan woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, but he says CMR drives the public agenda and gets the result. First Lady says, how can my daughter sign up to start? Oh, was that for the nursing program? I think you've gotten some information now on that. That's wonderful. Your daughter wants to be a nurse. Very good. Miss Darlene says, Sandy, why to Alric when you was the media that did the most shows how petty they all are. Well, it wouldn't be the first time that people are petty. We see this happening. This Cayman Committee did it quite frequently as well. They wouldn't send us any correspondence directly. They would send it to other media houses. When we're the ones who are actually, as you rightfully said, broke the story, having the conversations. And, you know, if they were on the up and up, they would just reach out to me. I tell you all, I'm such a reasonable person. I know sometimes you might sit back and think, gosh, Sandy really gets passionate. Passion and reasonableness are not two opposite things. You can be passionate and still be reasonable at the same time, right? So from a logical perspective, I might come with a lot of passion, but I will always, well, 90% of the time, I will sit down and listen to just about anybody for a minute. Have y'all not seen my patience? George, Quincy, I just let them keep going. I'm sitting here sipping my tea, asking some tough questions, but I'm like, okay, let's talk. There's no harm in talking to people. Y'all have an explanation that I can understand. That's why I invited you on the show. Explain it to me. Explain it to the people. Inquiring minds want to know. Good morning to Miss Charlene. She says, too much behind closed door business. That's exactly the thing. Alejandro says people are in their feelings when they're trying to normalize pedophilia. Yes. We should all be disgusted by what has been going on with this association. And once again, what we have done is, you know, Lacey's situation was the straw that broke the camel's back. But what I tried to do yesterday was give you all a comprehensive overview of what has been going on within this organization for a very long time. If it was one singular thing, if it was just Lacey's situation, that would be bad enough. But it goes far beyond that. And again, Sidoni Mother still has a lot to answer to. Even with her Cayman Invitational, why is it that organization, years later, after it hasn't been had since hosted since 2016, she still owes Cayman athletes money? When are they going to get paid, Sidoni? So, you know, you go around putting together these athletic events, and you promise, and you have a contractual obligation to pay these athletes because that's what you promise that you do. It's not very much money, folks, but she hasn't paid it. She's not paid them. She still owes money. And, you know, some of these athletes have said to me, Sandy, it might have only been a couple $100, but can I tell you, I was in need. I needed that money at the time, and she promised it. And then she's the type of person who's going to hand you a check, an envelope with a check in it, and you better open it in front of her because it's not even for the full amount. That's how unscrupulous this woman is. Why is she involved in this organization? I'm sorry, outside of her track record, right? Her physical ability, I've not actually heard any stories about this young lady that makes me believe or think that she should be around a youth-based organization, a youth-based association. She's not an example of someone who wants to pay her bills. She's an example of someone who supports a child molester, not just supports it by remaining quiet, but actually taking proactive steps, denying victims and their stories, not doing anything about it when she had a legal obligation to contact the authorities. The list goes on and on. So my question then becomes, why is she there? And the people who sit around the table, right, are just as bad as her for allowing her to remain there because they're getting something. Oh, Mr. Dalroy, you don't have to pay the $15,000 that you owe the association. You got something back. That should be criminal. If the court ordered it and it was to be paid, how does she drive the conversation and hoodwink other board members into not actually paying what was owed to the association? Good morning, caller. welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Morning.
Do you subscribe to Loop?
No, I don't. But I was just talking about the fact that they got the apology letter, which nobody seems.
No. They actually Loop broke the story. That's where it is.
Broke what story?
The apology.
No. That's what I just said. The apology letter is on their website, but there's a link in there where supposedly it contains an apology letter, but nobody's able to open the link.
Well, Loop actually has it, and I wouldn't even bother to read it to you because it's unless they wrote her something different. It's basically what I heard on Radio Cayman the other night, but I just thought I'd let your listeners know just in case.
We were just saying that,
that they can go on Loop, or if they subscribe to Loop, it's going to pop up on their device, so they can actually read what was there.
I mean, I see the article. Are you actually able to open the apology letter itself? Because I can't get that opened.
Well, I'm just reading the thing that Loop put up.
Yeah. So it's not the article that I want. I want to see the apology letter, the statement.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So they just did a quotation. The thing. Sorry. An excerpt from the thing. That is what I was just about to say. I wonder if an actual letter was written to Lacey, or is this it? I don't know. Maybe Lacey or her dad could answer that question, because I can tell you what. You don't insult me and embarrass me and humiliate me and give me the promise of an apology.
It's a promise of an apology?
Even if you sincerely apologize to me, I would still have to decide if I'm going to take it or not take it. But let me just say, Sandra, the house that I was brought up in, if you did something wrong, you were punished.
Mm-hmm.
And let me just say, my mother beat us.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't believe in timeouts. And no. Her era, that wasn't heard of yet. My father was a different story, because he didn't beat us, but it was better if he had beat us, because if he gave us that stare, oh God.
The stare would kill you worse than the beating.
Yes, because all you saw was that disappointment, how much you let me down. But anyway, I said that to say this. And then if it was something that, you're done to one of your siblings, you had to go think about it and understand what you did and why you were punished. And when you came to that realization, you had to go and apologize. An apology was necessary. And if you are not going to accept that you did something wrong or see the repercussions of your actions, then is the apology an apology? And if I coming up to you, Sandra, and I come and I slap you in your face, because I heard that you called my name, and it wasn't flattering. And then somebody says to me, oh, no, it wasn't this Sandra, it was the other Sandra from Timbuktu. And I just turn around and say, oh, sorry, but it was Sandra anyway. See? So if you're going to apologize, but maintain that you did nothing wrong, is that an apology?
Oh, of course not. I've never heard of such a thing in my life.
So that is my question, because if you read what Luke has there, well, that's how it comes across to me. And I don't know if I'm being biased. I don't know if I've got my emotions too involved in this matter. I don't know. But certainly, they said it's in their own words that they maintain that, protocol wasn't followed and the safety of the athletes and blah, blah, blah. So where is the apology then? The apology in all of this then?
Wow. Well, apparently they must have sent it to Compass as well, because I understand the Compass has it, Loop has it. They haven't sent it to CMR. So does anybody have a contact number for, because of course now, you have to subscribe to the Compass to read their stuff. Has anyone, does anyone have a contact number for the president, Mr. Delroy? Because I think now it's time that we get him on the phone and we stop playing games with this situation.
One of your very popular ears,
Mm-hmm.
your favorite student in the class, I believe, might be able to assist you with that.
Well, I don't have a favorite, so I don't know who that would be.
No, I see. I'm being facetious.
Yeah, I know, but I'm like the mother that tells you I have no favorites, but secretly she probably does like one kid over the other.
Every mother has a favorite.
I know. I was just saying that, right?
Even if she didn't have a child.
Yes.
The student that you that when he's naughty, I'm quoting you now. When he's naughty, you put him in the back of the class until he gets it.
Yes.
And then you let him
I wonder if that's Johan.
I'm not calling any names.
Johan, you're supposedly my favorite. Cough up a phone number for Mr. Dalroy this morning. Oh, we got the number, honey child. You know, lots of people listening going, we'll get you that number. Let's call Delroy Murray. Let's see what he has to say.
I knew you would get it in no time. You see, just gotta ask for it.
That's true. Ask and you shall receive.
That's right.
All right. Stand by, darling. We're going to call him now.
All right. Okay.
All right. Let's give him a call. Because, again, whatever link they provided doesn't seem to work. And I agree, just at a cursory glance of what I'm seeing here, this is not an apology. I don't know what this is, but nobody taught them how to give a proper apology. Oh, honey child, y'all need Jesus in the worst kind of way. Prayers, please. Let's call Mr. Delroy this morning. Since they don't want to call us, we're going to call him. Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Delroy.
It's me.
It's Sandra Hill here. How are you?
I'm okay, ma'am.
Good. Want to let you know you're live and on radio?
Well, I don't intend to be live and on radio, so I'm going to cut this call off.
Oh, okay.
Good.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. He doesn't intend to be live and on radio. This man is president of an association. He didn't even want to hear what we were going to talk about. Siobhan, somehow I've accidentally blocked you this morning, and I don't know how to unblock you. I was trying to do something else. I think I've accidentally blocked you. Oh my gosh, my apologies, because now I don't know how to undo it, but I'll try to figure it out. Yeah. So he doesn't want to be live and on radio. Shall we try Sidoni? Anybody has Sidoni's number? Let's see what she's going to say. Send me Sidoni's number while you're at it. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yes. Let me see here now. Sidoni Mother Sill. Mm-hmm. Yes, got it. Hold on. Let's see what she's going to have to say for herself. Lord. Let me see here now. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good morning, Sidoni. She wouldn't even say good morning, honey child. She heard that voice and just went click, hung up. Wow. These people are part of an association? Oh, they're not used to any degree of accountability at all. Woo! Honey Chan. They are rude. This person says the rats are scurrying. Get them. Okay. They're afraid of CMR, says this other person. Lord have mercy. I say. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Ms. Sandra.
Are you in the association? Anybody in the association that's willing to speak? They're all hanging up the phone on me.
No, my dear.
How are you?
I'm just saying, you see, there's always another level to take things.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm saying that, people are afraid of the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So I see where the premier allocate ministers for different things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying if that's where you need to go, that's where you need to go. We need the minister of sports to have something to say.
All right, let's call Bernie. May have his number.
Because, arrogance and pride are the two worst things anybody could possess. It doesn't bow, it doesn't bend.
My God.
So I think you need to go to the highest level. Okay. If you can't get him, then the premier who appointed him, it needs to be addressed.
All right,
because if they are continue to occupy places like this, whoever it is, nothing will be addressed.
Yes, thank you so much. Somebody said to call him back. Call them back. Let's call Mr. Bernie and see if he's gonna hang up on us. My goodness. Woo, Sidoni, girl, you need Jesus. Get yourself some help, child. They forget that they are, that they, even as a member of an association, you still represent people. No, sir. All right, he's not answering. Any other somebody say he's not going to answer. Any other association members? How about Mr. Francis? Does anybody have Mr. Francis's number? Maybe he has a little bit more sense than those two. So somebody give me Delroy's number. We called him already, honey child. He hung up the phone. What a hot mess. Someone says they should at least act in a very respectful manner towards the press and not act the way they just did towards you. A government gives them money, then contacting the ministry that funds them should be the next step. Okay, here's Mr. Francis. Boy, I love K-Man. You can get anybody's number in 2 2s. Oh, yes, honey, chill. He has a nice, easy number, too. Let's see if he's going to speak to us.
You've reached out, Brett. Please leave a message and I'll return your call as soon as possible.
We're not going to count on that. Somebody says I would say to call my son's coach, but he resigned and is busy this morning taking our kids to compete at the international meet in Miami this weekend. Yes, sir. This is where it's at. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Thanks, my dear. Appreciate it. Woo. Thanks, Siobhan. Looks like you're still able to comment despite me accidentally blocking. Oh no, those are all your earlier comments. Yikes. I'll try to figure that out, Siobhan. My apologies. Cameron says, so why not just send a letter to Sandy also? They really think Sandy won't get their hands on a copy. I mean, it doesn't look like I will because the link doesn't work. Their so-called apology doesn't work. But based on what I'm seeing, their apology isn't an apology. Because they're saying that revocation in this so-called statement, that revocation of Ms. Barnes Riley and her husband's coaching accreditation was inevitable as it posed significant risk to the association and Cayman's athletes. As the previous caller said, maybe the caller before her actually, an apology, listen, this is what we would call in the Caribbean a half, you know what, apology. This isn't an apology. This is the very definition of gaslighting somebody. If you're going to apologize, you take full accountability for your behavior. You say we were wrong, we got it wrong. And instead they're hunkering down saying what? They issued a public apology to national athlete Lacey Barnes and her husband. Okay, executives acknowledged the incident was poorly handled, but they insist that they had no choice but to take action amid concerns about accreditation for the two athletes who were acting as coaches during the prestigious youth meet. They claim that they feared Cayman's team could have been disqualified from the games if it had not intervened. Where did that fear come from? Because we even heard from Lacey, and we know for a fact that the fear did not come from any sort of bylaws, constitution, nothing. There's nothing that they did wrong. So the fear came from what? Oh, honey child, somebody in the Bahamas wants to call us. Send her number. I don't know if I got any credit on my little show line phone over here, Flo, to call overseas. But can you just WhatsApp me her number and we will call. Who is she, by the way? We will certainly call her via WhatsApp. Just send me her contact. Yeah, the people in the Bahamas want to talk to us. We can call them too. We have Mike Sands. We're going to call him too. We're going to call everybody this morning. The people in Cayman don't want to talk to us. Fine. You're not the end all and be all of what has transpired here. We will get everybody on the phone this morning, including the regional people if we must. And y'all have really left us no choice with your rudeness today. I tell you, these people are something else. Send that number along, honey child. In the meantime, if I can get a hold of Mr. Mike Sands, I will do so as well. Praise the Lord for what's up, honey child. That means that we can call people all over the world and don't pay a dime for the call. Y'all remember when the telecoms were all upset about WhatsApp? Oh, that's gonna be a bad thing for us. Because now they're making free phone calls. Ooh. Alejandro says, Cameron says, I live for these cold calls. Alejandro says, it's personal. How rude. I mean, my gosh. Should he be a representative? Good morning to Everton. I guess he has something to hide. I mean, if you ain't got nothing to hide, just talk to us. Inquiring minds want to know. Miss Darlene says that speaks volumes, Sandy. These are the people that represent our young people. Get rid of all of them now. Yes, sir. This is where it's at, folks. This is where it's at. Lack of complete professionalism. Wow. Miss Lucy says this is the, can't say that word on radio. They have, leave them, Sandy. Alejandro says, Sandy got these people upset and in their feelings now. No good. I don't think I can say that word either. Cameron says, yes, call her. That's what we're here for. And of course, y'all saw the second she heard the voice. I didn't even get to say, did I even say my name to her? I don't think I said my name yet. And she just hung up. Cindy says, call again. Then she'll call the police and claim I'm harassing her. So listen, Cindy, nobody not gonna be calling the police on me today. One phone call is enough. She clearly does not want to talk to us. If we persist, the police will try to make a capital murder case out of it. Okay. So leave them right there. Hello, Mr. Good Look. Such grand virtues. Amazing, says Charlene. Call the minister. We called him. No response. Cameron says, bring the burn. Yes, Jonathan, you missed the drama. You stepped out for a bit. Oh my gosh, you can't miss a minute on this program. Pride cometh before a fall, says Jess. Hey, Tommy, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Miss Dean says they lost a great opportunity for everyone to hear their story, if there is one. Ooh, Alejandro said, Mr. Bernigan, get his belt, yo. You better try and get some cow cod for these people. Oh my goodness. All right. Pauline Davis Thompson. What is her title? Because she wants to speak to us, so we can call her now. All right, let's give her a call. Hi, good morning, Miss Pauline. Good morning, it's Sandra Hill. I'm calling from the Cayman Islands. We have you live on radio, and we wanted to speak to you about this fiasco is the only word that comes to mind, that happened in your beautiful country recently by people in the Cayman Islands. So first of all, for the benefit of our listeners, can you tell us a little bit about who you are? Yes. Wow. Congratulations. Wow. Amazing. Thank you so much for that background information. So can I ask, obviously you would have been at the CRIFTA Games, I'm assuming, that was held in the Bahamas this past weekend? Yes. And, you know, we heard of this unfortunate situation where one of our young athletes was actually removed from the coaching area, from, you know, I guess the warm-up area. And both her and her husband were removed by armed guards and told that they had done something wrong in terms of how they got their credentials. Can you speak on what you're aware of in terms of, you know, what you found out, when you found out, and what your thoughts are and what has transpired? Yes. Mm. Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 Oh, just one moment, madam, just one moment for me. I'm hearing that some people can't hear you, so let me just try to rectify this, because of course we want to ensure that everyone is able to hear you. Okay.
Yes.
Let's see here what we've got going on. Okay, you can try now for me, please.
I was saying, I got a phone call. I was at the main stadium. I got a phone call from the basketball stadium, which is where the accreditation was being given. And the official said to me that they have 2 coaches there from Cayman, and that they're in the computer system. But they just need for someone to verify that they're actual coaches. Can I come over and verify that they're coaches? I said, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
So I walked over to the basketball stadium,
Mm-hmm.
and I verified to the Bahamian official who dealing with the credential that yes, they are former athletes and they are coaches of Caymanian athletes who are actually going to be competing at these Carifta Games. I said, just go ahead and give them their credentials.
Mm-hmm.
No, understand, this is the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a high-level official in my country.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want any blemish on my country's name.
Yes.
And if these 2 young coaches pay their way to come to the Bahamas to coach Caymanian athletes, and all they need for me to do as an official to say, yes, they are coaches, and they are coaches. That is what I did. The Bahamas had there were so many American coaches here. They were all over the place that were given credentials. It was an open system. Anyone who was a coach could have registered on the computer before they got here. And once they got here, they just need verification that they are coaches. So when President Archer told me what happened, tears came to my eyes, because I'm like, what? Who washed their dirty laundry in other people's backyard? How dare the Caymanian Federation did this to these young athletes and coaches? See, the proverbial word here is coaches. These are young coaches. And you don't do that. You don't wash your dirty laundry in other people's backyard.
That's right.
You don't send the soldiers to come and get them, because they're here to protect everybody. So of course, when they come there, they're gonna have their hands on their guns, because they're here to protect everybody, because they're preparing for anything.
My God.
Right? I was literally shaken to my core. How gutless, how spineless, how morally warped can you be? To do that to young people?
Yep.
In front of the Caymanian athletes and other athletes from around this region? We don't live like that. We don't carry on like that as Caribbean countries. What a lot of Caribbean people don't understand, though, is that yes, when we have the Carifta Games, it's a battle. We are fighting, we are pushing to get medals. But you see, when we leave the Caribbean and we go to the world, we are one Caribbean.
That's right.
One. Any athlete could tell you that. We love and support one another. It's not the Bahamas against Cayman or Jamaica or Barbados. We are one Caribbean. We stand strong and support one another.
It's very sad. So you would have found out basically at the time that this was happening, that they were being escorted.
No, I found it after the fact.
After the fact. Wow.
After the fact, President Jamaica Archer is the president of my athletic federation of the B3As. President Jamaica Archer told me what transpired. And he said, Pauline, I try my best to fix the situation as best as I could. He said, I had some VIP tickets, and I just want you to know that I gave them the tickets and made sure they went and had, took their seats in the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
As a fellow athlete, I was crying on the outside, I was crying on the inside. Because I'm like, oh my goodness, who does this? You've got to be spineless and more you want. What kind of, how sick are you? You're sick on the inside. And you don't mean nobody no good.
Yes. It's very sad.
Sad indeed.
I mean, we were shocked, obviously, here in the Cayman Islands when we were made aware of the situation. And what has been even more surprising is the fact that they have just held their position. And from having spoken to people who've been involved in CARIFTA, people who have organized this, who were there way before Sidoni Mothersill, she would have been a child. People who were involved in the organization have essentially said that this young lady has done nothing wrong. She got her credentials. She was not trying to be part of the official delegation getting special rates for hotels or anything. They paid their own way. They paid for their own accommodations. They did nothing wrong.
And that's correct. They did nothing wrong. The Bahamas made provisions for that. The Bahamas made provision for any coach who wished to come to the Bahamas for the CARIFTA Games can get accreditation. They just need an official to verify that they're actual coaches. That's it. Lacey did nothing wrong. The Cayman Island Federation, they're dead wrong. They owe that young lady a written apology and a public apology. They owe the Caymanian people an apology. You bring shame and disgrace to your country. Shame and disgrace.
Well, what I can tell you this morning is that they have, through other media, of course, we were the ones who broke this story, and we, interviewed Lacey first and was trying to really get an understanding of what transpired. They've issued some sort of an apology, but their apology continues to maintain that they had no choice. And I want to, if I may,
that's a lie. That's a big, bold-faced lie.
Yes, I want to read part of this so I can get your opinion essentially on what they have said, because of course they're seeking now to put the blame elsewhere and saying essentially that so it's the Caribbean, we say half-ass apology. This isn't even that much, to be quite frank and honest, because they're saying they apologized for the way that it was handled, but that they had no choice.
That's a lie.
And they had no choice because, according to them, their credentials were at risk if they allowed her to stay there. So they said that their coaching credentials were revoked and they were publicly escorted from the trackside because the federation, the athletic association, insists that they had no choice but to take action amid concerns about accreditation for the two athletes who were acting as coaches during the prestigious youth meet. And this accreditation, dispute, they're saying that it was inevitable that they had it revoked, as opposed, again, this is their words, I'm assuming, because we can't open the official statement from them, and they haven't sent it directly to us, but they claim that it posed significant risk to the association and Cayman's athletes.
Is that a joke? Is that a joke? You're going to speak to other Bahamian officials, they will tell you that the Bahamas made provisions for coaches to get passes. There were a ton of American coaches here in the Bahamas during the CARIFTA Games. And they were walking around with their accreditation. And America is not a part of the Carifta Games. Okay?
Wow.
They need to come clean. They really need to come clean. See, when you're really when you're an upstanding person, you stand up and you face the music and you humbly apologize for the wrong that you have done.
Yes.
And they have wronged young Mrs. Lacey Barnes.
Yes.
Who I relationship and she's married now. They have wronged that young lady. They have humiliated her in someone else's country. And they're gonna say there was nothing that they could do. Ask them to explain to you how did the other coaches from other countries got their passes. And they're walking around.
I understand that Kareem Street Thompson would have been there as well.
Yes.
And of course, he's an American coach.
Yes.
Wow.
There was a ton of them. There was a lot of coaches here. They were here recruiting athletes. That is why the Bahamas made a provision for them to apply online. Which is what Miss Barnes and her husband did. They applied online. And all they needed once they got here was for a Bahamian official to verify that yes, they are coaches. That's it. Cayman didn't have to do what. To me, it seems to me like there's a vendetta.
Yes.
Like they have a vendetta against that young lady.
I agree.
And that young lady, there's something special about her. That young lady gonna go places. I'm not sure where she gonna go, but her demeanor, she's always very respectful. She always Miss Pauline, blah, 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 whatever. She represents the Cayman Islands well from she was an athlete. She's a very good friend of one of my former athletes. They were at the same school, college. Very good friend of one of my former athletes. And I've come to love this young lady because she's so manly, she's so respectful, and she's highly intelligent. And I said to her, young lady, you're going to go someplace. I don't know where exactly, but there's just something uniquely special about you.
Yes.
You're going to do some special things. I don't know what that's going to be. You know? But there was a way to handle that situation. You don't do that. You try to humiliate her. And this young lady has won Carifta gold medal for your country.
Exactly.
This is how you treat your people?
Yep. Wow. We do have a few of our listeners, if you'll permit me to read some of the comments. Darlene says to you, ma'am, she says, you're a true Bahamian. These people don't skin up. Thanks, ma'am. Erica says, thank you, CMR, for the light on this. This is disheartening and embarrassing. Apologies are due to Lacey and her family. Miss Dean says, the sickness on the inside is very much bad mind. Sad, sad. Miss Judy joining the conversation says, imagine another country voicing their disappointment on the actions of the association. Embarrassing to Lacey and to the people of the Cayman Islands. And for the record, although the association has sent an apology statement to the Compass and Loop Cayman, they've not actually issued it to Lacey. Lacey has received nothing from them. So this seems to be a PR stunt at best. And like I said, it's not a real apology in any event.
They should apologize publicly. It should be a public
and it should
apology.
be a real apology.
Yes, a real apology. If not, then they know what they need to do because they are not serving the country of Cayman Islands. They are not a true representative of what Caymanians are supposed to be. Because if they are a true representative of what Caymanians are supposed to be, they will do a public apology to Lacey because of the wrong that they have done. They're trying to cover their dirt. And I don't know what vendetta they have against this young woman. But who God has blessed, no man can curse.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever God anointed that young lady to achieve, she's going to achieve it no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to get there. And the Cayman Federation, I cry shame. I cry shame on every single one of them.
Mm-hmm. Can we ask you to clarify? There's some people in the comment section because they're claiming that the persons who approached Lacey were unarmed, and Lacey says that they were armed. Are you aware of exactly who approached her and whether or not they would have been armed?
I am not aware of who approached her. I am aware that we had officers walking around with guns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because you're talking about, this is an international event. You get a lot of very important people that are gathered here in the Bahamas, and God forbid if something happened to one of them on Bahamian soil.
Mm.
So therefore, we had officers walking around with guns. Being prepared in case something go down to protect the people who are here visiting our shores.
Mm-hmm.
Besides the fact this is a sporting event,
Mm-hmm.
the Bahamas is a tourism destination country.
Mm-hmm.
Tourism is very high on our agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And at all costs, we have to protect every single person that comes into our country. We have plainclothes officers and stuff walking and moving among people all the time too. And they're loaded, they're packed. As we say here in the Bahamas, they're packed.
Mm-hmm.
So curriculum is nothing different. We have to make sure that every single visitor that are visiting our shore, especially for important events like the Carifta Games, that they go back home safely.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot afford for nobody's blood to shed on our soil.
Yes.
If the ladies said they approach her, and I know how they walk around.
Mm-hmm.
They have their hand on their guns.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if she said that's what happened, I believe her.
Mm-hmm.
That is what happened.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of people are calling for the resignation of Sidoni Mothersill and all of the board members that would have been involved in this, because we actually had one board member who has resigned over the weekend. He indicated that the board members here in Cayman for the Athletic Association had no knowledge of the situation. They weren't made aware of it. They didn't know about it until, Lacey's live event. And then they saw that CMR posted something up. And it was at that point that they began to understand what has transpired. So one of those persons has since resigned. But, people in the Cayman Islands are calling for the resignation of anyone who had anything to do with this, which we now know that for sure it would have been Sidoni Mothersill. It would have been Delroy Murray, the president of the association, and Mr. Osbert Francis, all of whom, I wasn't able to reach Mr. Francis this morning, but Sidoni hung up the phone on me when she heard my voice. Mr. Murray, once he was notified that he was live on radio, he hung up the phone as well. So none of them are willing to speak to us here on Cayman Mall Road, and they're obviously not willing to speak to the people of the Cayman Islands in any meaningful way. They've issued an apology letter that hasn't been sent to Lacey. It seems to me that they're playing games. And what do you feel if this was in the Bahamas and this had happened as part of your association there? What do you think the Bahamian people would expect?
For them all to step down and resign.
Mm-hmm.
They would not have taken this. They would not have taken this good.
Mm-hmm.
For the Bahamas, we don't like no embarrassment internationally.
Yes.
This is an international embarrassment for the Cayman Islands. This is an indictment on your great country.
Mm-hmm.
Cayman. There was a better way to handle that situation.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it just seemed like they were being vindictive towards this young woman, which wasn't necessary, which wasn't called for. She's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
She's a fellow athlete. So Sidoni Mothersill is a fellow athlete.
Yes.
So she, more than anyone else, should understand what that will do to that young woman.
Mm-hmm.
I put everything at their feet. And the Cayman Island Federation, I can't tell your people what to do.
Mm-hmm.
But they themselves should remove themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because as far as I'm concerned, they're not serving their country the way they should.
Yes.
This is a black eye.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like that young lady, some stranger.
Mm-hmm.
She's Caymanian.
Yes.
She's a fellow athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And me as a fellow athlete, even though I'm not Caymanian, I support athletes, no matter who they are, all around the world. I support them. I encourage them to be all that they can be.
Mm-hmm. It's shocking.
Those officials need to step to the plate. What they did was wrong. In sports, we don't do that. You do not do that. And let me reiterate it. Young Lacey Barnes Riley did nothing wrong. She followed the protocol because the Bahamas system had it set up that way.
Mm-hmm.
You go on the computer and you sign up. Mm-hmm. Once you come to the Bahamas, you just need somebody to verify the fact that, yes, you are a coach. And her husband, you're a long jumper, right?
Mm-hmm.
That won the gold. I think that's Lacey's husband who coached him, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Come on. Mm-hmm. And they paid their way to come here. They weren't looking for anything from the Federation. They paid their way to come here. They're playing fair. They pay for their hotel. My God, man. How spineless can you be?
It's very sad.
This doesn't bode well because you want your athletes to come back and to give back.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want. To whom much is given, much is expected.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I take my hats off to those two young people for wanting to give back. Because there are many young people who ain't gonna give back.
Right.
Because some of them are selfish and they're self-centered and it's all about them.
Yep.
You have to share what God has blessed you with. You got to empty out everything before you leave this world by giving back. And there's nothing that the Caymanian Federation can say to excuse what they did. What they did was wrong. And every parent should be crying out on that.
You know, and yesterday's, sorry, Miss Pauline. I was just saying that I see that Cameron must have missed yesterday's show because Cameron's saying, what is the backstory? Because as you rightfully said, that this feels like some sort of a personal vendetta. And I did my best on yesterday's program to give a bit of a background, a comprehensive background analysis of what has really transpired with this association with Sidonie Mothersill. And she does have some sort of issue with Lacey's father, Lance Barnes, because he was president and it was his decision at the time to remove Sidonie's husband, who had been convicted of a very egregious set of actions against a minor child, sending text messages. The child had alleged much more had transpired, but the more serious offenses he got off on. But the judge, I can tell you, back in 2017, I sat in court as the judge delivered his verdict, and the judge himself was so disgusted at what this coach was saying to this young lady and what he was encouraging her to do, being in a position of trust. And for many, many years, Miss Pauline, there have been athletes, former athletes, parents who have contacted me saying how they had gone to Sidonie Mothersill and talked about the sexual grooming and abuse that her husband was putting their young children under, and the pressure that these young girls were under to succumb to him and his sexual desires. And this entire time, Sidoni has refused. She's told them to their faces that they're liars, that their children are liars, and she has refused to acknowledge even after this man was convicted. She was still sending Caymanian athletes to train with him in Miami. And so I personally, as someone who's been an advocate for, sexual abuse victims, I do not comprehend or understand how this woman is in any association that has anything to do with children. It's shocking. And because Lance Barnes would have been the president who issued him the letter and revoked his membership in the Cayman Islands Athletic Association, which means he could no longer have a job and work, that seems to be the issue that she has with Lacey because of her father. You can imagine.
Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I'm crying right now. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Excuse me. Please.
No, it's okay, because this is...
Tears are flowing down my face.
This program is the cold, hard truth. And so these are the things that people ignore in this community. I was talking about how in the world of gymnastics, they had their Dr. Nassar scandal, the sex scandal. And in Cayman, we have yet to acknowledge the abuses that are happening here at the hands, oftentimes, of people we trust, including coaches like Atto Stevens. And when you have a woman who is a mother, a former athlete, supposed to be an upstanding member of this community, not just turning a blind eye, but actively assisting her husband, even in leaving the jurisdiction when he ran from the Cayman Islands and later had to be extradited for the offenses he was accused of, she has stood by this man in a shocking way and supported him, and, not supported our young people. So for me, when I see what she did to Lacey, I'm like, well, that should be of no surprise to anyone, given that she's had victims that have come to her and said, this man has done this to me. And she has said, you're a liar. I don't believe you. Not one, not two, but multiple victims.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Just give me a moment.
Yes.
Oh my God. Just give me a moment. Give me a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That is, oh my God. That is so.
And I am shocked that the regional federations and international federations, because of course we are aware that she wants to become part of, what's the international federation, NACAC?
You mean NACAC is the regional
That's
one.
the regional one. So she's been there for 3 years.
The one that 214 countries.
Yes. So she wants to be the first Caymanian, I guess.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. That's her.
You
That's
can't
her.
Be serious.
Oh, yes.
Sidoni is a woman, first of all.
Yes.
Second of all, she has 2 girls child.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And she supported her husband
throughout all of this. Throughout all of this, she continues to stand by this man.
How does she even serve on the Caymanian Athletic Federation?
Mm-hmm.
How does she even serve?
Mm-hmm. Well, this was the question that I was asking yesterday as well, because these people know.
What does the young? Do you know what does the young girls? When they are sexually molested by someone who they trust, as a coach. I remember when I was a young athlete, and my coach, Dad, Mr. Neville Wisdom, came seeking me out and wanted to be my coach. My daddy checked him out, make sure that ain't no foolishness like that gonna happen. And he calls me baby. He said, baby, you gonna be okay with Coach Wisdom. He'll take good care of you. I feel good about that. And my daddy made it a point to come to that national stadium. They call my daddy Gaddafi. And he let them coaches know. He walked on, he let them know anyone touch my daughter. I put them 6 feet under.
Mm-hmm.
And I am happy to say that I have never had any incidents of something like that happen. But I know that has happened in the past to some girls. Sidonia's husband is sick. He's sick in his head, and she herself is sick. As a woman, how can you condone that type of foolishness? A young girl come to you and tell you that your husband, what reason would a child have to come to you to say this? And you ignore it?
Yes. And not just one child.
That's shame with the Cayman Island Federation.
Yes. Not just
for
one child.
allowing. Wow. Oh my gosh. This run very deep. This run deep.
Yeah.
Sidoni should do the right thing and step down.
And someone is saying that I should
gumption.
Someone's saying I should share the links with you, because of course we in preparation for yesterday's show, I make sure I do my research. And although I couldn't place my hand on the original judgment, he had the audacity to appeal to the Court of Appeal his sentencing and the conviction. Of course, they threw it out, saying it had no merit. But even in the extradition document, it's important to note that at paragraph 5, it says that Stevens and his wife were the owners and operators of Trinity Track Club, a club that specializes in the training of young athletes in track and field. And the victim referred to here as minor A was 14 years old at the time of the abuse. And minor A disclosed that at least on 2 occasions between April and November of 2015, that Stevens inserted his fingers into her underwear and touched her vagina. And on other occasions, Stevens removed his clothing and exposed his privates. They use the actual word, but we might have some young listeners, to her and invited her to touch him, but she refused to do so. The abuse occurred after practices where Stevens would drive minor A home. So let me break this down a little bit further for you, Miss Pauline, this morning, because what you have to understand is this happened under the club that him and his wife owned together, right? And he was the coach of these young girls. And if you know anything, I'm glad you mentioned about how your father went out of his way to protect you. That's a good parent. But when you work in youth organizations, you have a legal and a moral obligation to put child safeguarding policies in place. There is no reason.
Now we have that here in the Bahamas.
Yes, there's no reason why this man should have ever been left alone with underage children, boys or girls, to even have the opportunity to do this. The judgment goes on to talk about the prolific number of text messages between him and this young girl, and the things he was saying to her and begging her to send him photos and this and that. I mean, it's disgusting. And this woman was prepared to fight. Listen,
he's a sick individual.
Very.
But you got to blame the Cayman Island Federation for even allowing her to continue to serve.
Yes. And she was fighting to keep him not only in the federation and continue coaching, but to keep him in the Cayman Islands.
What?
Yes.
Is the donor? What?
I mean, I've always wondered, but now that I hear, now that I hear you responding to this, it seems that, people even within the region had no idea of the magnitude of what had really transpired.
No. I am sure that maybe Cayman probably sent a letter, probably up to World Athletics or something like that. And I don't know at the time. I wasn't Mike Sands. Mike Sands was not the president of NACAC at the time. I think around that time it had to have been maybe Victor Lopez, maybe. I'm thinking based on what you're saying to me, and they probably could have sent it. I am sure letters probably was sent. It's just that it wasn't distributed to the wider Caribbean diaspora. I mean, and rest people like us would not have been aware of it. I feel like I want to puke inside of my mouth. I'm so sick by what you're telling me right now. I am sick. I am sick. And Caymanians have to do something. Sidonia needs to step down. She needs to step down from her post. That is humiliating and embarrassing. And what you're saying to me, this happened, is more than one young girl. So she thinks that all those young girls are telling lie on him. She really think that. This is worse than I think. This is even more worse than I think. Now things are coming full circle. Now things are starting to make sense to me, because at first it wasn't making any sense. But I couldn't comprehend, I couldn't understand why the Federation would do that to a young athlete who is also a coach. You love to have these people coming and giving back, because they could pass on their knowledge to young people and help them. And sometimes hearing it coming from someone who was an athlete, the athlete themselves absorb that better, because they're like, yeah, he or she understands me. They've been through the same road that I'm traveling. And they're able to tell me things that's going to help me to deal with my situation, overcome. That's some sick stuff right there. I just lost all respect. I just lost all respect for Sidonia. All respect. I cry shame on her. She's the mother of 2 daughters. He do that to somebody else's children. You don't think he's going to do that to your children? He's a pedophile. He is a pedophile. He will do the same thing to them same 2 daughters he has. How can you trust somebody like that? You cut your losses and you sprint far away from that person.
Exactly. Now that would be a sprint of a lifetime. Trust me.
Yes. You sprint far away from him. So she cuddled him and she supported him. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
And continued to send athletes to him in Miami after he was extradited from the Cayman Islands.
And where was the Caymanian Federation in all of this?
Sitting back doing nothing, allowing her to run the show and to pad the votes, because apparently my understanding of how the Federation works is what she was able to do is she's able to bring in her church sisters and brothers as members, register them for the sole purpose of keeping her on the executive committee, paying their very fees to be able to do so. And current President Delroy Murray himself sued the Federation. We have those lawsuits as well, back in, I think it was 2016, over the same question about membership, because all of a sudden the membership was doubling in order to keep Sidonia in her post. He sued. The judge threw it out on a technicality, said that he had to pay the Federation back $15,000 in legal fees. Sidonia and whoever she convinced on the committee said, no, we're not going to have him pay that back. So now he's indebted to her because he didn't have to pay back the $15,000. She made him pay a substantial smaller amount. So now he's indebted to her, it appears, to do whatever she says. So although she's the secretary of the organization, by all accounts, she seems to be the one running the show. And the tail is wagging the dog.
So don't he carrying on like that?
Yes, ma'am.
She's supposed to be a beacon of hope to all Caymanians. She's supposed to be there supporting them, encouraging them, let it cry on her shoulder when if they didn't compete well, or whatever. She's supposed to be a beacon of hope for those young people, not a deterrent. Oh my gosh. I have a bad headache. I oh my gosh.
Unbelievable.
Wow. The Caymanians have to do something about that. They can't let that continue. Every Caymanian should be shaken, and every hair on their body should be standing up, hearing the story that you're telling me about how gutless and spineless a husband is. to take advantage of a child, a female child. You gotta be a sick human being. And for Sidoni to support that madness of how to still be in that position she's in, how does these things happen?
It happens because, as the saying goes, when good people sit back and do nothing and say nothing, this is exactly what happens. When good people remain silent.
There are persons there who could, I know the government cannot intervene. And when it comes to federation matters, they cannot intervene. But there are ways they can do stuff behind the scene to put pressure to get the people who can do it, to have them removed.
Well, the government is funding the federation. We're funding CIAA at least over $100,000 per annum. So I would think that the government, their opinion should matter, or the funding stops.
Yeah. Or they could take they can take the money and distribute the way they prefer to do it, in the right way, since the Cayman Federation is not doing right.
We do have a caller on the line. Miss Pauline, if I could ask you to just hold one second for me. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
I'd like to thank your guests for calling the program and helping us understand this issue better. But I'd like to call on the government to ask Sidoni Mothersill to step down from her position or withdraw the funding from the organization until she does. And I think she should step down today. I would like to encourage government to do the same thing.
Thank you.
I'll just sign off right there.
All right.
Bye.
So again, that caller, I'm not sure if you could hear him, Miss Pauline, but he's calling.
Yes, I heard him.
Yes, calling on Sidoni to step down immediately. Otherwise, the government should cease funding of the Athletic Association. And I think that is, at this point, the right thing to do. Miss Moya says that she agrees with Denny. Judy is saying, why would Caymanian parents allow their children to go to Miami to be coached by a man who is a convicted pedophile? All of this makes sense. We do have another caller. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning to you, Pauline.
Good morning, ma'am. I don't feel good this morning.
What's your
heart is heavy right now.
I don't know if you hear me or not.
Yeah, she can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Just want to say, watched you throughout your career. Got many sore hands and sprained toes, rooting and jumping up like a fool for you, running. That's Caribbean pride. Okay. And I just want to say to you this morning, thank you so very much for coming forward and corroborating the story that Lacey unfolded to us, the Caymanians. And in case she doesn't know it or not, she has our support. She's a daughter of this soil. And the host of this show can tell you that, like you, this whole thing has sickened me. And I'm just so happy that you have spoken up, to defend what Lacey said, and that, she didn't do anything wrong. And also while it is, God, how do I say this? When Sandra told you about Sidoni's husband, the shock, while I'm saddened that, it sickened you, I'm also happy that now because you now have this knowledge and you're attached to the Bahamian body of athletes and to perhaps even now the international body of athletes. And I believe this is information they should have in hand, because, this is not going to end here. And there are ulterior motives being sought. So, but one thing I'd like you to speak to, please, Pauline, if you would, is how this incident could affect Lacey's future at the international level, based on what happened there, in the Bahamas, without a proper explanation given, and so on. Just left the way it is for everyone to attach their own narrative. How could this and how would this affect Lacey at the international level? Thank you, and I'll shut up and listen for your answer.
Thank you so much. One of the interesting things, Ms. Pauline, you may actually not even know this, but of course, Lacey has been, her father was speaking to, some of her mental health struggles throughout her career, her young life and professional career. But she has been so negatively impacted by this that she at this point can't even answer if she wants to continue competing and representing her country because of how she's been treated. What would you say to her, if she's listening to the program?
I would say to Lacey, you did nothing wrong, baby. You hold your head up high. You went to the proper channel to get your accreditation. And what your federation did to you is so wrong. You can do this. I know how you feel. I went through stuff too, baby. That's why I wrote a book called Running Sideways. The Olympic champion who made track and field history. And I am going to send you my book. Or maybe I'll take a vacation because I do need one to come over there and bring the book to you. To encourage you. Hey, to stay strong. Right now, you're going through some rough times. But I believe, Lacey, that God has a plan for you. There's something special that you're going to do, Mama. I don't know what it is, but it's something special. When you go through storms like this, there's a reason why you're going through the storm. It's going to make you a better and a stronger human being, a better athlete. And let me say this to you, Lacey. As a young girl coming through the system in the Bahamas, I was born and raised in the ghetto. And I was 14 years old when I heard a prominent Bahamian coach said, because my coach was saying that I was going to become this phenomenal athlete. And at that time, the Bahamas hadn't produced any phenomenal female athlete. They produced one athlete named Tommy Augustus Robertson, who our national stadium is named after. And he was an Olympic 100-meter finalist. He didn't win any Olympic medals, but he was an Olympic finalist. And here I was coming through the system, and people were saying all manner of things. Even I understand coaches from the region were saying, Bahamas, you finally got you one. And the coach spoke loud enough for me to hear it. 14 years on, he said, oh, they keep talking about how she's going to do this and how she's going to do that. All she ever going to become is a mattress for men. Have 6 or 7 kids for 6 or 7 different men. And I internalized that. Because back then, you dare not answer an adult. Because he could have go get the tampon switch and give me a whooping. And then when I get home, I get another whooping from my parents for being rude to an adult. But I internalized that. And I let those haters become my motivators.
Yes.
And the rest is history. And every time I see that coach, I just smile and I kill him with kindness. Because look at me now. And that's what I want you to do, Lacey. I want you to get up. I want you to brush yourself off. And I want you to keep pushing and become what God wants you to become. Do not allow these people to tear you down or break you down. Because God is the one that decides what you're going to be in life. God is the one that gave you that gift. And you hold your head up, sweet girl. And you stay strong. And you push through. That pain, I know you're in a lot of pain. Because I in pain myself just hearing how gutless and spineless the only husband is. To touch some young girl like that. To sexually molest a young girl, a child. And he's an adult man. He's sick. And for Sidoni to condone and support that madness, she's sick in her head too. I know this have you down, but you're an athlete. You won gold medals for your country. Dig deep, mama. Dig deep, 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 deep. Because you have it within you. Be all that you can be. And let persons like Sidoni and those that sit on your current federation, let them watch you become what God has destined you to become. You have the love and the support of your country, Cayman. From what I'm hearing, they love you. They support you. Dig deep. You're an athlete. Take that stuff and lock it away in a compartment. You know, we ask them how to do that. Take all that madness and lock that away. And refocus. And continue to be the sweet, beautiful person you are inside and out. And continue to give to your country, and you continue to make your country proud. That's your weapon against them, mama. I mean, nothing they can do about it. That's the message I want to send to Lacey. Yes. I survived, Lacey. I've been through plenty myself. I survived it. But I want to give you a copy of my book. I want you to read that book. So that you too can survive this. And just like how your people standing up behind you, the Bahamian people stood up behind me. They were the wind beneath my wings. So you let the Caymanians be the wind beneath your wings. Keep lifting up your head. Look at your flag and be proud to be Caymanian. See, the onus is on them. Them, the people, they're the small-minded people. They're the ones who are gutless. They're the ones who are spineless. They're the ones who are morally warped for what they did to you. All they did was put one little roadblock, speed bump, hurling your way, mama, but you're going to cross those hurdles. And at the end of the day, you will shine. That's the message I want to send to Lacey.
Thank you very much for that. Miss Marva McPherson says, please come over, Miss Pauline. Take your vacation here with Lacey and the rest of us. There are people also asking if your book is available online because they'd like to purchase a copy.
Yes, it's on Amazon. And it's called Running Sideways. You'll see me there in my red Alabama uniform, running through, at the time, I call it my field of dreams. And the front cover, you see me in my red and white Alabama. I went to University of Alabama uniform. And yeah, I think so. I was thinking I might go to Jamaica, but
come to the Cayman Islands. You know, we claim that we're the best in the Caribbean for hosting people the right way. We might not be getting a lot of other things right, but I love that your book is also available on Kindle as well.
After having this conversation with you, for sure, I definitely must come because I need to look Lacey in the eyes and show her some love and show her some support and tell her that this too shall pass. See, they were trying to destroy her, but all they did was brought shame on Cayman Island.
Yeah,
that's what her federation did. They brought shame on Cayman Island.
Yes, and it's so. I must say, you know, I'm an adult myself. I have a 6-year-old now. And, you know, as we mature and get older, Miss Pauline, we learn supposedly from our past and from our mistakes. And we should have a little bit more foresight than maybe when we were in our 20s. But for the world of me, I do not know how this federation thought that this was going to end well in their favor. They must not have thought this through very much at all, or they were driven by such malice and vindictiveness that they couldn't see past their noses. Because there's absolutely, but you know what I think they figured was going to happen? I think that they believed that Lacey was going to curl up in the corner, because she did share with us that when the soldiers came for her, at first she cried. Probably out of sheer shock and just, they were trying to bring shame to her, an entire stadium of people looking at this young lady. She said her mother, the one person she said is, my mom was there in the stands calling me, and I couldn't even answer my phone, wondering what was going on, what had happened. And she cried. And I suppose they thought that Lacey was probably not as strong as she is, and that she would not have addressed them. So they thought that they were going to get away with it. And thank God that Lacey, decided to speak up.
And listen, I am happy that she did. Very happy. Very, very happy that she did. I'm going to share with your listeners, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
I was in college at the University of Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And the CAC championship was being held in Puerto Rico.
Mm.
I was a top athlete while at the University of Alabama. And I came to represent my country in Puerto Rico. I ran the 100 meters and I ran the 400 meters for my country. So I ran the 100 meters and I won. I had to go into drug testing. Mm-hmm. I didn't come out of drug testing until after midnight, like around 12:30. The bus ride back to the village was over 2 hours, right? Like around 2.5 hours. And I rode back to the village because I had to also run the 400 meters.
Mm-hmm.
And to your listeners, this was the first time in history that 3 Caribbean girls would have had an opportunity to run for number 1 ranking in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because back then you had to go head to head for number 1 ranking, yes?
Mm-hmm.
And the athlete was Anna Kiro from Cuba, Grace Jackson from Jamaica, and myself from the Bahamas. And I'm the youngie, right? I'm in college. I'm the youngie. I just came off my collegiate win. I'd broken the collegiate record in the 400 meters. Get to Puerto Rico. Like I said, I had a drug test and I got back to the village late. So my coach dad, Mr. Neville Wisdom, my high school coach, all of them came down to Puerto Rico to support me and to be there for me because they realized I'm about to run the race of my life. And they all came to support me. So he called me early that morning. And I was just not feeling well at all because I hadn't eaten anything because my federation forgot to put some food aside for me to eat. So I hadn't eaten nothing the whole entire day. And I got to the village and there was nothing there for me to eat. So I just was not feeling well. So my coach Wisdom said, okay, he spoke to the team manager and he told him, listen, I need for y'all to send Pauline here because I don't like the way she sounds. She hadn't eaten anything. Why did you guys not save her some food, whatever. So my sister mom, I call her my sister mom.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll read more about it in the book though.
Mm-hmm.
They were all there. So coach told the manager, put me in a taxi. He put me in a taxi. He said, tell her to pack a little small bag because we have to really work on her to get ready for her the race of her life tomorrow. So I go to the hotel. I stay with my sister mom. Her name is Andre.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to bed like at 8. They fed me. Coach talked to me. Tried to rally me up or whatever, because I'm getting ready to run the rest of my life the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So I ate and did all of these things. I went to bed at 8 o'clock that night. My federation calls him after 10 o'clock at night and said to put me in the taxi and send me back. So Coach Wisdom said, she's already in her bed sleeping. I don't want to disturb her. She only bought a little small bag. She will be back tomorrow. I just want to get her, rattled up so she'd be able to run a good race tomorrow. So I went to bed, slept, get up the next morning, had my breakfast. Went to because so Grace Jackson and Anna Kira was staying at the hotel that I'm staying at. They didn't stay in the village. It was only a 100-meter walk from the hotel to where the track was. So of course it was time for me to go to the track. Went to the track. You know, they had a massage therapist flushing me out, the stretcher person stretching me, doing all of these things, trying to keep me upbeat, you know? So got onto the track and I set my blocks and I come out of my blocks and I went back into my blocks a second time. This time I sent someone in my lane. So I looked up and I saw the head coach. I said, Mr. Ramin, it's okay. I thought he was coming to tell me I was doing something wrong. I didn't want him to say anything to me. I just needed to be in my own headspace, you know? He walked straight past me. He picked up my blocks and he went the opposite direction. All of a sudden, I saw all these coach suits come onto the track. All the other athletes looking at me like, Pony, what's going on? I'm doing my hand up like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I see them there arguing back and forth, and I'm standing there watching and watching and watching. We all watching because nobody knows what's going on exactly. Until finally, one of the officials comes up to me and said, Pauline, your country has disqualified you from the race. You can imagine, my whole world fell apart. Needless to say, the race was held up for so long that no one, Grace and Anna and them, their time never came close. Needless to say, everything was a wash. Came back home and my federation gave me a lifetime suspension. Can you imagine? And so the Commonwealth Games was being held in Auckland, New Zealand. I happened to be that I found out later on he was already dead and buried. That I was Sir Lyndon Pinglin's most favorite athlete. And Sir Lyndon Pingling every time I used to be so afraid of him. Every time he would see, he called me little lady. He'll always come over to say hello to me. As a matter of fact, he bought me my first pair of running shoes. And when I pulled my hamstring and they said my athletic career was done, he refused to believe that. He has sent me, I think he's the one that did all the research, found the doctors, and sent me to Florida, to Orlando, Florida, to get treatment. I discovered all of this stuff after the fact, when he was already dead and buried.
Oh, wow.
Several years later. Yes.
Wow.
So I got this phone call from the Federation telling me that I'm going to the Commonwealth Game in Auckland, New Zealand. I said, pardon me? No, sir. I'm on a lifetime suspension. I'm not going to no Commonwealth Games.
Yes.
But what are you talking about? Yes, you're going to the Commonwealth Games. I said, no, sir. I said, anyway, so you have a good day, and I hang up the phone. Several hours later, the phone rang again. I picked up the telephone. I said, hello. The person on the next line say, hey, little lady, how you doing today? That's the Prime Minister of the Bahamas, Sir Lyndon Pingling. He's the only one that calls me little lady, so automatically I recognize him. He said, listen, I understand that they have lifted your suspension, and I understand that you have been chosen to go to the Commonwealth Games in Auckland, New Zealand. I said, sir, I'm not going. I haven't been training. I'm not going. And I didn't do anything wrong for them to put me on a lifetime suspension in the first place. He said, listen, do it for your country. Say, I understand, but I want you to do this for your country.
Mm-hmm.
And when he said that, it kind of just tugged at my heart, you know?
Mm.
And the tears just started flowing down my face.
Mm.
Here is the Prime Minister of my country calling me, telling me to do this for my country. How do you say no to that?
Right.
And would you believe I went to New Zealand without no training? And I won 2 bronze medals for my country, the only athlete to do so.
Mm.
The Bahamas came back from
Amazing.
those games, 2 bronze medals. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's stories like that and other stories in my book.
Yes. As you said, what is for you is for you. Trust me.
Yes. And that is what I'm going to say to Lacey.
Mm-hmm.
I want her to hold her head up
Mm-hmm.
because they can't stop her. As I've said before, who God has blessed, no man can curse.
Mm.
God has the last say,
Mm-hmm.
not man. And that young lady is going to do some special things. Don't know what that's going to be, but when you start going through these type of storm, there's something special that she's going to do. I have no idea what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But just based on what I see is happening now with her, there's a little inner me saying, yeah, this little young lady can do something special.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to share that
Thank
with
you
you.
so much.
Share that with your listener to let them know that sometime when they see young athletes progressing, there are people who want to put roadblocks in their way.
You know
It's only
what
a
is
test.
what is so shocking, Miss Pauline? I was speaking to I don't think he necessarily wants to be identified, but also, you know, a medalist. This young man called me last night. He's halfway around the world right now. And he said, you know, I've been listening to the conversation, track and field athlete as well. And he started to share some of his struggles at the hands of the same Sidoni Mothersill. And he said,
wow,
my God, when I tell you this is so deep, you have no idea. And he said to me, Sandy, he had the opportunity to he qualified to go to the Olympics. And because that association through her failed to submit documentation, which they had a week to do, they were, oh, we're sorry, you can't go and officially represent Cayman. He ended up going on his own dime. And he said to this day, he is still paying back financially the bills that came with that trip. It's sad that our young people, when they do the right thing, there's stories like this of how they have been cut off at the knees, how they have been discouraged, how they've been stopped, they've been prevented, you know, from having their moment to really contribute to themselves and to have these personal accolades and accomplishments, which make the country look good. And we should be doing our best, you know, to support them in any way that we can. I mean, he even shared, which I'd heard from other people, of how Miss Sidoni had put on this, her international champs or something. She put on some international event, track and field event here a couple times. And, you know, the athletes were supposed to be paid a nominal fee, you know, nothing much, but he could not even get paid in full. Sidoni is not even a good paymaster. She handed him a check in an envelope and he's expecting it to be the full amount, and it's half of what he was owed. And he said, you know, it wasn't about it being a big amount, but at the time, an athlete who had nothing else coming in, the couple $100 mattered. And here's a woman who should understand these things as a former competitive athlete herself. You know the struggles,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Is doing these young people dirty, as they say, not doing right by them. I am dumbfounded and flabbergasted at how long she has been able to survive in that association when people, these are the stories that you're hearing about her. I'm not hearing anybody saying that she's a role model to these young girls or she's a role model for people to look up to. Despite the fact that this country has put her on a pedestal and paid for her to remain there, she actually doesn't have that moral compass. None at all.
So disappointed. I am so disappointed. Because Sidonie was a very good athlete. I am so disappointed to hear these things. So disappointed. She should be the main person at the forefront, cheering and clapping and pushing these athletes on.
Exactly.
She should be the one fighting their battles for them, making sure everybody stay away from them, allow them to have the freedom to go out and perform on behalf of your great country, Cayman.
Yes.
She should be the soldiers in front, protecting them. Making sure that they be all that they can be. Because I know Cayman has been good to her.
Absolutely. This person says, why is Sidonie there? She does not represent the values of being a Caymanian. No amount of medals can help you if you're just a rotten person.
Wow. I'm a foot soldier for my fellow athletes. I fight hard on their behalf every single day. I don't let nobody abuse them. They will tell you that. I don't let nobody abuse them. Not over my dead body. You're not going to abuse my fellow athletes. Let them be all that they can be. If they do something wrong, I put them to the side and I spank them in front of their faces. And I tell them what they did wrong. They need to do better, straighten up. You don't just represent yourself. You represent the black, gold, and aquamarine colors of our country. And there are other young people watching. And you are to act, care, and conduct yourself in a certain manner. Stone should be in the forefront, supporting these athletes. She should have never allowed what happened to young Lacey to happen. She should have said, no, I'm not going to let you do that to her. No. Don't do it. There's a better way to this. Let's figure out how we can deal with this situation, but this is not the way to go. My athlete, they could tell you, I'm going to fight for them.
Absolutely.
And when you think you knock me down, the two animals that best describe me is a spider and an elephant. And an eagle. Three of them. Because I love to soar. And I'm like an elephant. I don't never forget nothing. And I stand up and I protect and I support my athletes. If they do wrong, they'll tell you. Paul will be the first in my face to tell me that was wrong. What are you doing? Catch yourself. You are better than that. Sidonie is supposed to be a role model for Caymanian athletes.
Yes.
She should have all their numbers. Call them. Support them. If they ain't performing, hey, what are you doing? What's going on? What is the issue? How can I help? What can I do to help you? That's what she's supposed to be. Not be a part of the system to discourage and to tear down. You tear down a house that you helped to build? That is disgusting. You're supposed to have to continue to build that, not tear it down. I am so disappointed in Sidonie. I am so disappointed in her. So disappointed. Very disappointed in her.
Well, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule and speaking with us about what you know to have transpired in the Bahamas. I've sent in the comment section the link for everyone. Miss Sonia says she's not here. Miss Sonia, everybody else is hearing, so maybe just refresh your links. But we've been talking about doing a book club, launching a book club here on CMR for quite some time now, and time just hasn't been on our side, but we have to do it. And I'm thinking that this should be the first book that we read. Make it a regional author, an athlete, a woman, because we support women in this space. And I think this would be a phenomenal book, really, a biography, an autobiography to really support you. I think we're going to inquire if we can get some hard copies through the local bookstore of your text. And maybe what we could do, Miss Pauline, is we could dual purpose your vacation and actually have you do a book signing as well. And perhaps, speak to some of our young people and adults who'd be very, very interested in hearing you read a few paragraphs from your book.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I say, I am who I am because a village called Baintown raised me to be who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And a country called the Bahamas loved me against all odds.
Mm-hmm.
My Bahamian people show me love in all type of ways. I was able to survive the negativity because of them.
Yes.
And I'm just saying, y'all continue to pour love on Lacey. Just continue to pour love on her. She's going to overcome it. Your love is going to be able to sustain her.
Yes.
Your love is going to give her the strength to overcome this situation here and to continue her trek to what God has blessed her to be.
Mm-hmm.
For her to get to where she has to go. Just keep loving her because that's what Bahamian people did for me. When they found all the different things that my federation was doing to me, when I tell you, these people give me, whether it was fish, whether it was a bag of mango at 5 a.m. in the morning, and the man come talking about the man said it was his third time coming there looking for me because he heard I love mangoes. I say I love mangoes on the radio. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I could be here and tell years and years to tell you stories.
Yes.
I go to the fish place to get me some fish. The man give me, I just get the man give, I said, sir, no. I don't want no lobster.
Mm-hmm.
He said, no, I'm blessing you with this. When I got home, 56 head of lobster was in that bag.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Oh, listen to me. I take my car to the shop. The car sit in the shop for 3 days. I go and the man hand me the keys. I said, sir, remember I didn't pay you. I have to pay. He said, your money ain't good here. Thank you for all that you did for our country. I could just keep telling you stories on top of stories on top of stories on top of stories about the love I get from the Bahamian people. So I want the Cayman to kill Lacey with love, not literally kill her. You know what I mean? Pour love on top of her. And she's going to be able to overcome that because she loves Cayman.
Yes.
She loves her country.
Yeah.
And by you showing her how much you love her, you will give her the strength to overcome. And she's going to continue on her journey. And that destiny road that God has mapped out for her, she will continue.
Yes.
So just keep pouring love on her. Keep pouring it.
I want to read just
She's
a few more.
A little bit now.
I just want to read a few more comments before we wrap up the show. Ms. Judy says, Sandra, did you know that the gold medal holder in the 100 meter only knew that he was running it the day before he ran it? Oh, Lord. And 2 Cayman athletes who got to the finals 2 years straight were only selected to do the relay. I mean, I think it speaks to other dysfunctionalities that are happening within the organization. So someone else again asking, says we need to march for Lacey and ask for their resignation. And what is the name of Miss Pauline's book? So her book is called Running Sideways. And I'm going to send out the link on Amazon, but let me see if we can speak to the local bookstore. We're going to arrange something. Miss Pauline, I was saying to people earlier that, my middle name should have been Tenacious, because when I set my mind to something, we're going to get it done. So I'm just reading a few more comments here. And to our listeners, by the way, I've not forgotten about the radios that we gave out last week, but we had some guests, some family visiting from Jamaica. So I've been a little bit busy, but I'm going to start in the next couple of days getting those out as well. And we have DMS who's come on board to sponsor additional radios so that everyone can get a radio courtesy of the program. Let me just see here. So this person said, tenacious like a ferret. Well done, Sandy. So we have someone in the comment section, this person's from Jamaica, who is, riding with Sidoni, and they have levied an accusation here that you are Lance's woman. So what do you expect? So this is how the conversation has gone. And I must tell you that this is shocking, and but I'll allow you to address it.
I am Lance's woman. Have you ever seen me in the Cayman Islands?
That must be the best long distance relationship ever.
There you go. Thank you very much. That's a bunch of foolishness. That person, that's pure ignorance. Let's focus at the job at hand. Yeah?
Yep.
So if I'm Lance's woman, you'll see me in the Cayman Islands many times, right?
This other person, this gentleman comments and says, I am almost in tears hearing the sincerity in her voice, meaning your voice, her humbling apology from herself and her country, and our own people did it and refused to apologize or even talk about it. What they issue was not an apology, it was an excuse. The way things look now, I don't think any letters were sent. It was covered up like everything else. And this is the type of national pride we need. We should all be like Miss Pauline, proud of her country, proud of her people. I hope that she inspires all to be better at loving us, our people, and our country. And I think that that's probably a good point for us to probably wrap up the conversation. Yes.
Can I say something? I have some books that I could bring to the Cayman if that will make things a little easier. Now, I don't know, I could check to find out what is the protocol in terms of, pieces of stuff you could carry onto the plane or whatever. But I do have some books that I can bring to the Cayman with me. And now I'm definitely now gonna come to the Caymans.
Beautiful. Sounds wonderful.
So what I would do, we can stay in touch, and I'll have to figure out, like I say, how much I am allowed to, how much of the box of the books I can put on the plane and bring to Cayman. To make it a little easier, for everyone, if that's okay.
Yep. Well, we'll work on some
things that I might need.
My gosh, we'll work on some logistics and try to put it together. So I've got your contact.
Okay.
Your contact details. So let's see what we can do. Let's make it a whole event, my dear. Why not?
Hey, thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
And thank you for the invite. I definitely not gonna come to Cayman for sure.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, my dear. Thank
you.
And
thank you so much. And y'all just keep loving up Lacey. Hey, she gonna overcome this. Just keep loving her up.
Yes. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Miss Pauline. We'll talk soon.
Okay. You talk soon. Bye-bye.
Alejandro is wondering if the book is available in the public library. Another small-minded person, says Miss Brenda. Cindy says, who is Lance now? Miss Renita says, don't entertain them demons. No surprise there. Alejandro says, can't shoot this messenger down, not on CMR, Bobo. It's so interesting that becomes that's the defense. So if I call Mike Sands, which I might do on tomorrow's program, and he also says that Lacey didn't do anything wrong, is it going to be the fact that y'all are going to say that he's sleeping with Lance too, that he's in a relationship with Lance? This person retaliated and retorted, I should say, and said that, oh, they're not meeting in Cayman, they're meeting in Jamaica. I don't care who Lance is sleeping with. Wrong is wrong. The young lady did nothing wrong. Okay. What we know for a fact, I don't know what Lance has going on between the sheets, but what we do know for a fact is that Lacey did nothing wrong. No one can point to any wrongdoing on her part. I have spoken to people who know the insides and outsides of Carifta, who know this current CIAA Athletic Association. Before Sidoni was probably even born, they were there. And they have said Lacey did nothing wrong. It was not a loophole that she took advantage of. Other coaches were there. So Kareem Street Thomas was there coaching. So what is the problem? Let's just keep it on track. Because if you're going to call people out on a personal level and what they have going on in their personal lives, let's make sure that's relevant to the issue. The only reason that, and they're not making these comments publicly, they're sending me WhatsApp messages, but to be very, very clear, the only reason that Sidoni's personal life is on display is because it is directly connected to her position as a member of CIAA. Victims have gone to her. Their parents have gone to her, and she has done nothing. That's why it is necessary to talk about how she has supported this man who is a convicted child abuser. That is why that is such an integral part of the conversation, because she should be around nobody's children. She does not have the interest of your children at heart. That's why that's important. It's not just to be gossipy. It is to let y'all understand this man has been convicted, and she still was sending athletes to him. He has been convicted, and she wanted him to remain and stay here in the Cayman Islands. She is still married to him. She still visits him. They're still in an active relationship. She has turned a blind eye, and not just turned a blind eye, but she has actively called parents and other young girls liars because they have said, this man, Atto Stevens, has done this to me. There's a distinction. I don't care what two consenting adults are doing. Yeah, that's their business. What I care about is when children are being abused and molested, and they, the real victims of this entire situation, are made to pay the ultimate price. I care about when a young lady has done nothing but tried to give back to her country, that the likes of a Sidoni Mother Sill, who is nobody now as far as I'm concerned. I don't care how many medals she won. She's proven that she does not have the moral fiber of anything that should be around her children. For her to step to Lacey in the way in which she did and had this young girl taken off by armed guards is a problem. And we are demanding here today, mark your calendars. What day is it? April the what, 14th? I believe so. Yes, no? I'm ahead of myself. April the 13th. Please mark your calendars, Sidoni. This is the day that we are asking you to go, to step out of this association and be gone. And if you can't do it, and Delroy can't remove you, and the next vice president, Mr. Osbert Rankin, or Osbert, what's his last name again? Francis can't remove you, and your trumped up association members can't remove you, we will march in the streets of the Cayman Islands. Hear me and hear me good. If that's what it takes to make you go sit down and take several seats, the last pew in the church, hold your Bible and hold it tight, because we don't want you around our children any longer. It has been long enough. The day of reckoning is here for your egregious behavior over years and years and years that you have been able to get away with. Enough is enough. The Caymanian people have had enough. You piggyback on government paying you a salary, giving you positions, giving you jobs for far too long, and nobody dared to question your behavior and your actions. Well, I, for one, have had enough. Darlene says Delroy got to go too. I agree. Make them all go. Every single one of them. Disband this association until they can get it together. Alejandra says amen. And Delroy as well. Jess says we need the whole association to be gone and a new one put in place. All right. I'm sure the association, despite them hanging up the phone and not wanting to talk to anybody this morning, they have gotten the message loud and clear. We're going to give them a couple days to tender their resignations. And when they do not, every single one of you listening to this program, we are going to march in this country. We're going to show them that we are not pushovers any longer, that we are going to stand in unison for and with our young people. We have got to send the right messaging. You don't think our young people are paying attention? You don't think all of the other victims of Atto Stevens are not paying attention to how this fiasco is going to go? They didn't get justice when they should have because of Sidoni Mothersill stepping in the way of that, denying them their truth. But you know, they say time is longer than rope. Well, now it's time. It's time for we the people to finally do something about it. We got to stand together against this type of wrongdoing. Folks, thank you very, very much for tuning into the program tomorrow. We will be back here tuning into the program today. My apologies. We will be back here tomorrow morning at 7:30. Let me just check my calendar. I don't believe I have any guests scheduled. So I know I've been trying to catch up on a few things. Yeah, tomorrow seems pretty wide open. So we'll do some open mic time. There's a few of you calling about you need some consumer help. Maybe we'll get a few of those things sorted on tomorrow's program as well. I still want to share with you what I did over the weekend with our visiting guests. It was a lot of fun. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I need to check to see when the premiere is coming back. I think he was scheduled to come this week, but we'll check with him to see when he's back for the next premiere access as well. Let me just message him now while I remember it. And then, yes, we will continue the conversation and I will update you guys on a few other tidbits of things that we need to wrap up. So that's where we're at, folks. Oh, yes. And I've got court tomorrow morning. Please, will somebody remind me? Geez, and peace. I better put that in my calendar. Will somebody please remind me that I have court tomorrow because I can't miss it. This will be my first appearance before Grand Court. So we'll talk about it tomorrow as well. So I'll tell you exactly what my lawyer is going to do come tomorrow. Tracy is asking for the spelling of Sidoni's name. It's Sydonide, Mothersill. Yep. And of course, Marva says all of them need to go. We're going to put a little bit of pressure on now because this is ridiculous. Folks, I appreciate you guys so much. You guys make this an amazing show. Someone else says they need to issue their resignation. Somebody else, Lance said he only met Pauline in 2019. This is foolishness. Oh, Lord Jesus. Anyway, my good people, we will continue to bring you the truth, and it's very, very simple. The truth does not need a crutch to stand on. It stands on its own. Someone says, Sandy, you're the GOAT of the media here in Cayman, the greatest of all time. Oh, I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. You go get them, call them out. You see how they use a profane word, which I can't use on air. Frightened Bernie is, he needs to make a statement. You need to call him out. That's why the young people don't want to go back home and stay and serve. Look at how the only Caymanian forensic psychologist resigned from the prison, Dr. Larissa Johnson. Oh, we need to bring you that story now. Tracy says, tell Lacey to come to New Zealand. We love people like her. Well, child, my philosophy is this: if you can't make it in your own country, something is wrong. And we need to support our people right here. And Tracy, I'm sure she appreciates the invite. Maybe she'll visit New Zealand, but your heart is home. And we have to ensure that our people, or Caymanian people, have the available opportunities in this country first and foremost. And that's not shade against anybody else. Believe me, we have room here for a lot of people. Check the work permit logs and you'll see what I mean. But what we will not do is throw our own people to the wayside and allow anybody else, even our own Somebody else that we've embraced as a Caymanian, I consider Sidonia a Caymanian. Although she's not originally of Cayman soil, we've embraced her as a Caymanian. I don't care if you're born here from 50 generations ago. The wrong is wrong and wrong is wrong. It's as simple as that. So you got to get it together. And you will not do so at the expense of our young people. All right, folks. Have a beautiful day. We'll see you tomorrow morning, God's willing, at 7:30 a.m.
Hello, I'm Kevin Watler, and this is your CMR Daily Buzz. Here's a summary of some of Cayman's latest headlines. The Office of the Ombudsman has ordered the release of certain personal information to the unsuccessful application for a government job at the Mosquito Research and Control Unit of the Ministry of Health. The applicant requested records relating to the recruitment exercise under the Freedom of Information Act. And speaking of the Office of the Ombudsman, staff members spent 2 weeks between late February and early March in a specifically designed advanced investigation training course taught by a 30-year-old veteran UK police detective. Water Authority has advised customers in Cayman Brac that due to the significant increase in demand for water over the past 2 to 3 months, the authority has had to make the difficult decision of limiting a trucked water order quantity to 2,000 gallons to manage the supply. A community-led nomination for the Little Cayman Marine Park and protected areas to be put forward for the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization World Heritage status has achieved backing from the United Kingdom. Now for your CMR weather update, it's brought to you by WG Charters. Sunrise at 6:09, a mix of clouds and sunshine with increasing clouds, when the temperature is at 85 degrees Fahrenheit and humidity at 66%. Like the forecast calls for, it will feel like it's in the high 80s. Winds southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour, and the sun sets at 6:42. At nighttime, the temperature falls to the high 70s. Looking forward, similar weather conditions are expected. If you would like to know more on any of these stories, visit CaymanMallRoad.com or follow Cayman Mall Road on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. That's it for now on a Daily Buzz. Thank you for joining me. Please stay safe, and God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.